It's not a wall. Then what is it? Lin Xian was shocked. The dark red divine dragon pointed ahead and said, "Look, doesn't this look like a door?" A door? Lin Xian took a closer look and realized that there was indeed the mark of a door on the white wall. However, the door was tightly shut, and there was a thick fog around it. Hence, it was impossible to see it at first glance. "You don't say this is a house?" Lin Xian opened his mouth wide. He realized that there were really strange things happening in this demon abyss. On the other hand, the dark red divine dragon retreated and used some secret technique. A pair of dragon eyes emitted a purple light. Then, he shouted in a low voice and looked ahead carefully. Soon he was shocked. "This isn't a house. We seem to have found something good. This looks like a spirit boat." Spirit boat? Lin Xian was also surprised. He did not expect there to be a spirit boat in this demon abyss. "Are you sure? It should be. It looks like a spirit boat. But why is it here?" "Kid, if this is an ancient spirit boat, then it's full of treasures." The dark red divine dragon was very excited. This was because he realized that the number of subdivine crystals near the spirit boat was the highest. Therefore, he guessed that there was definitely a huge treasure trove inside. Lin Xian was also excited. Originally, the two of them thought that there was no other way, because the king's killing formation could not last for long. However, they did not expect to find this spirit boat. If they could enter and leave with the spirit boat, the two kings would definitely not expect it. Then they would be able to leave this demon abyss safely. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go in quickly. Lin Xian directly activated the king's killing formation. An extremely terrifying aura erupted and quickly blasted towards the white door. Boom! A deep sound rang out. Then, a huge force came from the door and quickly blasted onto the king's killing formation. Instantly, Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon were blasted back. "No way, it's so strong." Lin Xian's eyes widened in disbelief. The dark red divine dragon also took a deep breath. "What the fuck is this? Even the king's killing formation could not be broken?" One had to know that the king's killing formation could compete with a king. In other words, even a king could not open this door. Thinking of this possibility, Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon were stunned. What kind of material was this to have such a strong hardness? We're definitely rich. Just by looking at the quality, it's definitely an earth-tier treasure. The dark red divine dragon was very excited. Indeed, if it was an ordinary material, it would definitely be destroyed. Lin Xian smiled bitterly. "What the fuck? We can only watch. We can't go in at all." He sighed. However, he did not give up. Instead, he quickly circulated his soul power and slowly penetrated it through the small crack on the door. Lin Xian wanted to explore what was inside. If there was some kind of mechanism inside, he could use his soul power to open it. However, Lin Xian discovered that even with his soul power, he was still unable to completely penetrate the door. This made him even more shocked. "Ruffian dragon, hurry up and help me." Lin Xian did not want to give up. Therefore, he called Ruffian dragon to help him. The dark red divine dragon's soul power also spread out. The two soul powers fused together and formed a powerful force that quickly penetrated the door. Chapter 14:12. However, Lin Xian discovered that even with his soul power, he was still unable to enter the door completely. This made him even more shocked. "Ruffian dragon, hurry up and help me." Lin Xian didn't want to give up, so he called out to Ruffian dragon to help him. The dark red divine dragon's soul power also stretched out. The two soul powers merged together and formed a powerful force that quickly penetrated the door. In the next moment, the two of them were stunned. They were extremely shocked. Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon worked together and quickly sensed the situation inside. One had to admit that this spirit boat was even more terrifying than they had imagined. Even with the two of them working together, they could only sense the situation within 10 meters. However, even so, they were still stunned. Shocking. Too shocking. Absolutely shocking. This was because there were subdivinity crystals on the ground in front of them. There were more than 50 subdivinity crystals. Far more than what Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon had obtained. One had to know that Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon had risked their lives to obtain more than 10 subdivinity crystals. But now there were more than 50 subdivinity crystals, just in the passage behind the door. This huge gap greatly stimulated them. Damn! This is intolerable. I must go in. The dark red divine dragon was so excited that he stomped his feet. There was no other way. He had been stimulated. Lin Xian's eyes were also burning. He was so excited that he trembled. He wanted to take away all 50 subdivinity crystals on the ground. Now, he was completely capable of absorbing subdivinity crystals. Moreover, the more he absorbed, the more his great dragon sword soul would awaken. His strength would also increase. One day, when his great dragon sword soul reached the king realm, he wouldn't need to fear the black dragon sect leader and the king demonic beasts outside. But now, the only problem was that the two of them could only watch. They couldn't take it out. Even if they could use their soul power to wrap around the subdivinity crystals, they couldn't take them out. I'm not willing to accept this. The dark red divine dragon used his dragon claws to search around. He wanted to see what was behind the door. Later, Lin Xian also personally took action. He didn't want to give up this opportunity. However, when his hand touched the white door, the spirit boat shook violently. Boom, 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 boom. In front of them, the white door that could withstand the king-killing formation slowly opened, revealing a pitch-black passage. What's the situation? The crimson dragon Deng's eyes widened in shock. Lin Xian was also shocked. Brat, what did you do? Why is the door open? The dark red divine dragon looked at Lin Xian curiously, because he knew that the door only opened after Lin Xian made his move. Could it be that he encountered some kind of trap? That's why the door opened. Lin Xian was also very puzzled because he didn't do anything special. He only touched the white door like the dark red dragon. Perhaps the dark red dragon couldn't figure it out either, but it didn't want to think too much about it. Its body turned into a red light and went in with a whoosh. The most important thing now was to take away all the subdivinity crystals inside. Lin Xian was also very excited as he strode into the room. There were a total of 53 subdivinity crystals on the ground. The dark red divine dragon took 25 of them, and Lin Xian took 28. As the subdivinity crystals couldn't be placed in the storage ring this time, the dark red divine dragon used its dragon scales to create a bag on its back to contain more than 20 subdivinity crystals. Lin Xian also used the astral battle armor to create a bag on his back to store all 28 subdivinity crystals. Excited, this was too exciting. They had worked hard and only found a dozen subdivinity crystals. As for the black dragon sect leader and the king demonic beasts outside, they probably only had one or two. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so anxious. However, they had obtained more than 50 subdivinity crystals. This was definitely an astronomical number. Boom! At this moment, the white door behind them suddenly closed, and the entire passage was sealed. The dark red divine dragon waved its palm and attacked. After trying for a long time, it realized that it couldn't open the door. However, this time it wasn't anxious. Instead, it said excitedly, just this passage alone had more than 50 subdivinity crystals. Who knew what else was in this spiritual boat? Brat, why don't we go in and take a look? Okay. Lin Xian nodded. To be honest, he was also very excited. This spiritual boat was too amazing. First, it could block the king-killing array. And now they found so many subdivinity crystals. It could be said that it was extremely mysterious. He also wanted to know what was in this spiritual boat. Although he couldn't see clearly from outside, how big was this spiritual boat? Just from inside, Lin Xian could sense that this spiritual boat was definitely huge. It was at least twice as big as the one in his hand. In front of them was a 50-meter straight passage. About 50 meters away, there was a right-angled corner. This passage was also made of white metal. Lin Xian tried to break it, but the king-killing array couldn't break it at all. It couldn't even leave a scratch on the surface. This made the two of them extremely shocked. The king-killing array was extremely powerful. It could kill supremacy realm martial artists as easily as cutting vegetables. Even if it encountered a king, it could contend with him. However, such a powerful killing array couldn't even leave a scratch on the metal wall. One had to admit that this was too amazing. Treasure, this was definitely a treasure. It was at least an Earth-rank treasure. The dark red divine dragon was so excited that it drooled. Let's go and take a look. Lin Xian also took a deep breath. A passage was so precious. There must be treasures in the spiritual boat. However, when they reached the end of the East Passage, before they could enter the right-angled passage, the two of them were stunned again. Because there was a palm print on the white wall in front of them. A palm print was slapped on it. It was incomparably clear, causing the entire wall to slightly cave in. Previously, Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon were too excited, so they didn't notice it at all. Now that they were so close, they naturally noticed the palm print. No way, who is it? To be able to leave a palm print on this white metal. Lin Xian was extremely shocked. One had to know that this was a metal that even the king-killing array couldn't leave a mark on. The dark red divine dragon also took a deep breath, because he realized that even at his peak state, he probably couldn't leave a mark on this white metal. However, now someone actually did it. One had to admit that the other party's strength was too terrifying. Even if it was a king, it was probably the best kind. Moreover, what was even more shocking was that this palm print was 3 times larger than an ordinary person's palm. Ordinary humans didn't seem to have such a large palm. Chapter 14:13. To be honest, they were truly stunned this time. In fact, they were even more shocked than before. This was because they had discovered a corpse. It was a perfectly intact corpse. The corpse was extremely tall, even taller than the Black Dragon sect leader outside. It was at least 5 to 6 meters tall. Logically speaking, it was impossible for an ordinary human to have such a physique. Only the demon race could have such a physique. However, the corpse in front of them had the face of a human. It did not have any characteristics of a demon race. It was a tall middle-aged man. His skin was bronze and he was wearing ancient clothes. He was not wearing any armor. However, judging from the condition of his muscles, He was definitely stronger than Lin Xian's cosmic armor. There were no injuries on his body, but his eyes were wide open. There was even boundless anger and fear in his eyes. Lin Xian took a closer look at the man's palm, and realized that the man's palm matched the palm print on the white wall very well. The dark red divine dragon also noticed this. Then the two men's heads exploded. If they guessed correctly, the palm print on the white wall was left by the middle-aged man in front of them. To be able to leave a palm print on the white wall, this middle-aged man was definitely a king. Moreover, he was an extremely terrifying king. However, such a terrifying king had died. Moreover, he had an extremely terrified expression on his face before he died. It was as if he had encountered something terrifying. When they thought of this, Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon felt their scalps go numb. Lin Xian took a deep breath and asked in a deep voice, "Ruffian dragon, do you know what's going on?" "I don't know." The dark red divine dragon shook his head and said, "To be honest, this middle-aged man's cultivation far surpassed mine. Moreover, I'm very surprised. I didn't expect that a place like the Tianan region would have such a secret." The dark red divine dragon was extremely shocked. He did not expect to encounter such a thing. Lin Xian's expression turned grave after hearing this. He knew that the dark red divine dragon had always been arrogant and did not take anyone seriously. However, this time, he actually said such a thing. One could imagine that this middle-aged man must have been an extraordinary person when he was alive. Lin Xian and the dark red mystical dragon were both shocked and curious. They carefully controlled the king-grade array formation and circled around the corpse. Truth be told, the middle-aged man had quite a few treasures on him as well. However, the two of them did not dare to take them. Although the middle-aged man was dead, the remnant pressure from his body was too terrifying. They didn't dare to have any ideas. What a terrifying king! Lin Xian was shocked. It wasn't as if he had never seen a king before. King Pillfeather's fragmented soul, the countless king corpses in the remote sky secret realm, and old Taoist Song Song's fragmented soul. But none of them were as impactful as this. This was because the kings from before were either broken souls or piles of bones. None of them were as intact and lifelike as they were now. In fact, the oppressive might on his body did not dissipate by much. Lin Xian knew that this was a true powerhouse. He had already reached the realm where his body would not rot. However, such an expert was actually killed. Moreover, there was no trace of injury at all. Just what kind of person could have such strength? To kill such a king? What was the realm above the king realm? What techniques did such a person have? Lin Xian was very curious. He asked the dark red divine dragon. But the dragon only shook its head and sighed. The two of them walked forward again. Not long after, another round arched door appeared in front of them. This time, it was still Lin Xian who placed his hand on it, and the door opened automatically. Lin Xian was already numb to such a strange situation. However, when he opened the door, he was shocked. All the hair on his body stood on end. Fortunately, the great dragon sword soul in his body surged out in time to suppress this fear. Beside him, the dark red divine dragon screamed and retreated 100 feet. It couldn't be helped. It was frightened by the scene in front of it. This was because they saw a pair of eyes. As soon as they opened the door, they were greeted by a pair of eyes. They were cold and emotionless, like the eyes of a demon god looking down on the world. The eyes did not move. They must have lost their vitality. However, judging from the energy and pressure it contained, Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon could not breathe at all. One look was enough to make one's heart and soul shatter, and one would be lost in it. Lin Xian took a deep breath and activated the great dragon sword soul again. Suddenly, a loud sound came from his body, and a cold feeling surged out, waking Lin Xian up. Lin Xian gritted his teeth and quickly looked away from the eyes. Then he heaved a sigh of relief. Terrifying, too terrifying. That pair of eyes was more terrifying than any king he had ever seen. It was as if everyone was an ant under that pair of eyes, and they could only crawl on the ground. The dark red divine dragon also took a deep breath. Then it carefully came to Lin Xian's side. The two of them controlled their emotions and did not look at that pair of eyes. Then they discovered that there was a huge corpse standing behind the arched gate. The corpse was not much different from a normal person, and it was also wearing ancient clothes. Although it had lost its vitality, its flesh and blood were still intact. If one did not know better, they would have thought that it was a living person. Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon took a closer look and found that there were no wounds on the corpse. Just like the previous one, it had died mysteriously. Two top-notch kings, who were extremely terrifying, had died in such a strange way. It was very suspicious. What kind of power was it? How could it cause such a terrifying result? Carefully walking around the corpse at the door, Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon came to the hall. Then the two of them screamed again. That was because there were other corpses in the hall. Previously, they were blocked by the one at the door, so they did not see it. Now that they were inside, the situation inside was clear. There were a total of 3 corpses, and they were very well preserved. One of them was lying on the ground, while the other 2 were still in a state of battle. The 2 of them stood in the middle of the hall. One of them was a middle-aged man with a tall and sturdy figure and a cold face. However, his chest was sunken in, and 2 blood-red arms pierced through his body, coming out from the back. The owner of the arms was a person wearing a blood-red robe. It was an old man with a cold face. Even though he was dead, he still exuded a terrifying murderous aura. However, there was a long sword in between his eyebrows that directly pierced through his entire head. Obviously, the 2 of them had perished together. Although the 2 of them had been lost, they could still feel the horror of the battle. There was even a terrifying aura left in the void. Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon took a look and felt their scalps go numb, and their hearts beat wildly. This person was too terrifying. Not to mention Lin Xian. Even if the dark red divine dragon was at its peak, it would not be able to stop him. Chapter 14:14. Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon looked at each other and felt their scalps go numb and their hearts beat wildly. These people were too terrifying. Not to mention Lin Xian. Even if the dark red divine dragon was at its peak, it would not be able to stop them. Damn it, who are these people? Why are they here? The dark red divine dragon was too shocked. One must know that even in the Tianwu continent, there were no such talented experts. But now in this remote Tiannan region, there were actually so many mysterious experts. Come to think of it, in the distant ancient times, Tiannan region must have some unknown secrets. Sigh. Suddenly a deep sigh was heard, echoing in the spacious hall. Hearing this, Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon jumped up. Damn it, you scared me to death. Who is it? Hurry up and come out. The dark red divine dragon and Lin Xian looked around and felt their hair stand on end. One must know that there were several peerless experts' corpses here. If there was a voice, could it be that the corpses had come to life? If there was really a peerless expert that had come to life, then the 2 of them were completely finished. Lin Xian was also extremely nervous. His eyes were like lightning as he looked around and said coldly, "Who is it? Don't be sneaky there. Hurry up and come out." Lin Xian, I've been waiting for you for a long time. I didn't expect you to come so late. A leisurely voice sounded again. Fuck. Hearing this voice, Lin Xian was completely terrified. He did not expect that the other party would know his name. Kid, I'm here for you. It has nothing to do with me. The dark red divine dragon retreated to the side with a whoosh. Who are you? How do you know my name? Hurry up and come out, or don't blame me for being rude. Lin Xian shouted coldly. At the same time, he activated the great dragon sword soul in his body to eliminate the fear in his heart. No matter if the other party was a human or a ghost, he would not surrender. Good, good, good. As expected of the successor of the Way of the Sword. This courage is really rare. Hearing this, Lin Xian's pupil shrank. From the other party's words, he seemed to know that he had the great dragon sword soul. But how was that possible? Only he, the dark red dragon god, and the wine lord knew about this. No one else knew. However, the voice in front of him seemed to know as well. This made Lin Xian extremely shocked. Even the dark red divine dragon jumped up in fright. Don't worry, I don't have any bad intentions. That voice sounded again, and then a broken sword appeared in the void. It was a broken sword. It looked very simple and unadorned. It was only a third of its normal length. Furthermore, the remaining half of the sword was filled with cracks. At that moment, the voice came from the broken sword. "You're a sword spirit?" Lin Xian breathed a sigh of relief. This was not the first time he had encountered something like this, because the Thousand Beast Cauldron also had an artifact spirit. As long as it wasn't some demon or ghost, everything was fine. "I'm not a sword spirit. To be exact, I'm the weapon spirit of this spirit boat. It's just that I'm currently possessing this broken sword," the voice replied. "This spirit vessel is called Black Earth. You can call me Black Earth." "Hey too? What a lousy name." The dark red divine dragon came to its senses and muttered softly. On the other hand, Lin Xian couldn't wait to ask, "Who are you? Who are these corpses? Also, how do you know my name? How much do you know about the great dragon sword spirit?" Indeed, Lin Xian had too many questions, so he had to clarify these things. "I've said it before. My name is Black Earth, and this is Black Earth. I've been waiting for you for 10,000 years. "What? You've been waiting for me for 10,000 years? Lin Xian's eyes widened in disbelief. "What nonsense! I'm only 20 years old. How could you wait for me for 10,000 years? Could it be that you knew I was going to be born 10,000 years ago?" Lin Xian's face was full of disbelief. 10,000 years was simply too shocking. One had to know that a king could only last for 2,000 to 3,000 years. Who knew if the Tianan region existed 10,000 years ago? "You're wrong. I wasn't waiting for you, but for the successor of the Great Dragon Sword. After 10,000 years, I've finally waited for the successor of the Great Dragon Sword. Lin Xian, you're the one I've been waiting for. The successor of the Great Dragon Sword." Lin Xian's heart skipped a beat. If that was the case, then it was still possible. Because the Great Dragon Sword had existed since ancient times, he wasn't the first to obtain it. "How do you know I have the Great Dragon Sword spirit?" "It's very normal. I can feel the aura of the Great Dragon Sword spirit on your body, because my master was also the successor of the Great Dragon Sword." "Your master too?" Lin Xian was even more shocked. He didn't expect to receive this news. "Who is your master? Is he still here? What's the situation with the corpses around here?" Lin Xian continued to ask. "That's my master." The broken sword in the air suddenly emitted a weak light that swept towards the majestic man in the center. "What? He's your master? And he was once the successor of the dragon sword. How was he killed? What's going on?" Lin Xian was also shocked. Beside him, the dark red dragon also asked, "That Hey too, what realm are they in?" To be honest, the dark red dragon was also very shocked, because the aura emitted by the corpses alone made his hair stand on end, so he wanted to know what realm these people were in. Could it be the legendary realm? "My master is called Yi Gucheng, the fourth successor of the dragon sword." The fourth successor of the dragon sword. Lin Xian was shocked. He had never heard of this before. However, he quickly frowned and said, "That's not right. Hasn't the great dragon sword spirit existed since ancient times? Why is it only the fourth generation?" Hearing this, the dark red dragon's eyes flickered, while the broken sword Hey Tu said in a deep voice, "That's right. The great dragon sword spirit has existed since ancient times. As for how many people have it, we don't know. However, ever since the great Emperor Shiman appeared out of nowhere, swept through the 8 barren lands, and ruled thousands of races, he became the first successor of the dragon sword. After that there was the second, third, and fourth generation." "Great Emperor Shiman? Who's that?" Lin Xian was puzzled because from the other party's words, he could tell that this was definitely an incredible person. The great Emperor Shiman is definitely a peerless figure who suppressed the ancient times. He's an existence that countless people look up to. The dark red divine dragon sighed as well, its eyes filled with deep respect. Obviously, he knew about the great Emperor Shiman. The great Emperor Shiman shocked the ancient times, and had countless glory in his life. "I'm afraid that it would be difficult for his descendants to reach his height." Hey Tu said, "Now you understand, right?" In other words, in the 5th generation? Lin Xian's face was serious. "Perhaps, but I'm not too sure. After all, 10,000 years have passed. You might be the 5th generation, or the 6th generation, but no matter which generation you are, You're still the successor of the great dragon sword. Chapter 14:15. In other words, in the fifth generation? Lin Xian's expression was solemn. Perhaps, but I'm not too sure. After all, 10,000 years have passed. You might be the fifth generation or the sixth generation, but no matter which generation you are, you're still the successor of the great dragon sword. Then how did your master die? Why did you wait for me? Lin Xian was puzzled. Although he and Yi Guqing both possessed the great dragon sword soul, they didn't know each other at all. Why did He Tu wait for him for 10,000 years? My master, Yi Guqing, was extremely powerful and brilliant. He could be said to be the most dazzling genius of that era. Genius? Isn't that used to describe the younger generation? Lin Xian looked at Yi Guqing in puzzlement. His appearance was already that of a middle-aged man. What do you know? Great emperors can live for 20,000 years, but my master is only 40 years old. He can be said to be very young. He Tu's voice was excited. Did you know that my master became an invincible king at 40 years old? He could be said to be the most dazzling person of that era. If he was allowed to grow, he could definitely become another great emperor in the future. What? An invincible king at 40 years old? This time, it was the dark red divine dragon's turn to exclaim. To be honest, it was too shocked because it had never seen such a young invincible king. What does invincible king mean? Can you tell me the details? Lin Xian was puzzled. Although he could guess the meaning behind this, he still didn't know the specifics. Looks like your place is too backward. You don't even know the martial Dao realms. He Tu said slowly. Alright kid, let me give you some knowledge. Let's talk about cultivation first. The martial Dao realms are divided into 9 major realms, starting from the Meridian Condensing Realm, Spirit Sea Realm, Harmonious Spirit Realm, Spirit Transformation Realm, and Spirit Detecting Realm. Above that is the Honorable Realm, King Realm, Saint Realm, and Great Emperor Realm. You're now in the Honorable Realm, so I don't need to explain the previous realms. I'm sure you know. After the Honorable Realm is the King Realm. The King Realm is divided into 9 minor realms. Every time one advances, one's strength would undergo a tremendous change. It isn't just that, the domain would grow stronger and stronger as well. It can be said that every single advancement in the King Realm is more difficult than all the previous realms. Invincible King Realm cultivators are invincible in the King Realm. My master, Yi Gucheng, is an invincible king. Upon hearing this, Lin Xian was extremely shocked. He already knew that above the Venerable One was the King Realm, but he did not expect there to be another realm above the King Realm. That was the Sage Realm, the Great Emperor. And the Great Emperor Shiman mentioned by He Tu before should be the pinnacle figure of martial Tao. No wonder the dark red divine dragon showed that kind of reverence before. Great Emperor. Lin Xian clenched his fists. He felt as if a new door had opened in front of him. The 9 realms gave Lin Xian a new understanding of martial arts cultivation. Meanwhile, the dark red divine dragon continued. Kid, the King Realm is even more terrifying than you imagine. For example, the Black Dragon sect leader and the King Beast outside are only 1-star kings. I'm afraid that even the kings of the martial sky continent are at most 2-star kings. It's very difficult to advance any further. Those old fellows, the most conservative of them, are more than 1,000 years old, and some are even more than 2,000 years old. However, in this lifetime, they will probably stay at the 1-star or 2-star king realm. It's impossible for them to advance any further. And invincible kings are existences that even 9-star kings can't contend against. You can imagine how terrifying those people are. Hearing this, Lin Xian was extremely shocked. He knew that the dark red divine dragon was right. The further one went on the path of martial Tao, the harder it was to cultivate. He had felt this when he was in the Venerable Realm, not to mention the even more profound King Realm. However, he did not expect that the middle-aged man in front of him was actually an invincible king. To be able to be called invincible, one could imagine how terrifying his strength was. However, this made Lin Xian even more puzzled. Since he's already an invincible king, how could he be killed? Because the enemy is even stronger. He Tu sighed. Although my master is an invincible existence in the King Realm, he is not invincible in the entire path of martial Tao. Above the King Realm is the Saint Realm, and the legendary Great Emperor. The enemy's strength is even more terrifying. Unfortunately, my master is too young. If he was given time, with his aptitude, he would be able to become a Great Emperor. Great Emperor. When Lin Xian heard this title again, he asked in puzzlement, what kind of existence is that? The Great Emperor is the last realm of the 9 great realms. Anyone who becomes a Great Emperor is an existence that has shocked the ages. Their combat strength is something that you can't imagine. Let me put it this way. The Great Emperor can directly destroy the Tianan region that you are in with a single slap. What? Destroy the entire Tianan region with a single slap? Lin Xian was shocked, and his eyelids twitched. At this moment, the dark red divine dragon continued. Not just the Tianan region, even the Tianwu continent can be completely destroyed with a single slap and disappear from this world. So powerful. Lin Xian was dumbfounded. One had to know that the Tianwu continent was very big. Even if the kings fought, they could only destroy some mountains and rivers. The stronger ones could destroy countries. However, he had never heard of a king who could destroy an entire continent with a single slap. But now, the legendary Great Emperor was able to do it so easily. It had to be said that it was too shocking. The Great Emperor's strength is incomparably terrifying. His strength is beyond your imagination. When your cultivation deepens, you will understand the reason. He Tu continued. Also, don't think that the Tianan region and the Tianwu continent are that big. In the real world, they are just islands. What? The Tianan region and the Tianwu continent are islands? Lin Xian was stunned. He felt that his brain wasn't enough. Although he knew that there was an even bigger world outside the Tianwu continent, he didn't expect the gap to be so big. He knew what an island meant. It is indeed an island. However, the people here have never gone further. So everyone thinks that the Tianwu continent is a continent. However, to the people of the real continent, this place is just an island. Our world is called the True Spirit World, and there are a total of 5 large continents in this world. They are the eastern wasteland, western desert, southern ridge, northern plains, and central region. Between these continents, some are adjacent, some are separated by the sea. The Tianan region and the Tianmu continent that you speak of are just two small islands near the eastern wasteland. Chapter 14:16. Our world is called the True Spirit World, and there are a total of 5 large continents in this world. They are the Eastern Wasteland, Western Desert, Southern Ridge, Northern Plains, and Central Region. Some of these continents are adjacent to each other, while some are separated by an ocean. The Tianan region and Sky Marshall continent that you speak of are just 2 small islands near the Eastern Wasteland. That's all. If you compare them in terms of size, it's the difference between an ant and a giant dragon. Lin Xian was speechless and shocked. This news was too shocking. Originally, he thought that the Sky Marshall continent was big enough, and that kings were very powerful existences. But he didn't expect that compared to the real world, they were like dust. Of course, this is only the simplest summary. As for the real wonders of the world, you need to personally experience it. Lin Xian also knew that just from this description, he couldn't imagine how vast the land was. However, he believed that one day, he would leave this place and step into the real true spirit world. Then why are you waiting for me? Lin Xian asked again. My master only had one wish in his life, and that was to pursue the supreme martial Tao and become a great emperor. However, the path of martial Tao is very dangerous. My master finally met a great enemy, a person even more terrifying than him. In the end, my master Yi Guqing unfortunately died in battle. However, although he died in battle, his will was not extinguished. So, I followed his dying wish and found the successor of the great dragon sword and nurtured him into a true great emperor. What? You want to nurture him into a great emperor? Don't joke around. The dark red divine dragon jumped up. Brat, I'm not trying to discourage you, but you want to become a king, or even an invincible king. Maybe you'll be lucky and become a saint. But to become a great emperor, that's simply impossible. The dark red divine dragon was very excited. Since ancient times, there have only been a few great emperors, and every one of them was a figure that could crush all of eternity. This kind of person, other than being strong, their luck and talent are all the strongest. If one can't reach it, it's impossible to become a great emperor. The dark red divine dragon quickly said. It was clear that the great emperor held a very special position in their hearts. You're right. However, even if there's only a 1 in 10,000 chance, I still have to try. After all, this was Master's wish when he was alive. Is it so difficult to become a great emperor? Lin Xian didn't understand. Although he knew that the great emperor realm was the final realm, he didn't expect it to be so difficult. Judging from the dark red divine dragon's words, this was a height that could not be reached. He too said, "It's right, it is indeed very difficult. Isn't the great dragon sword spirit powerful?" However, out of the 4 masters of the great dragon sword spirit, only the first one managed to become the great emperor Shiman. As for the 2nd generation, the 3rd generation, and even my master, none of them became great emperors. There are even rumors that the successor of the great dragon sword has been cursed. It is impossible for him to become a great emperor. My master wanted to become a great emperor in order to break this curse. What? Even the 2nd and 3rd generations did not succeed. This time, Lin Xian was truly shocked. One had to know that the great dragon sword spirit was an extremely powerful offensive saint technique. Although he could only unleash a portion of its power, the effect was still very shocking. It could be said that Lin Xian knew very well how powerful the great dragon sword spirit was. In his opinion, as long as he obtained the great dragon sword spirit, he would definitely be able to become a great emperor. However, he didn't expect that to be the case. You mean that even if your master didn't die, it's impossible for him to become a great emperor? Lin Xian asked. 100%. You're thinking too much. According to my estimation, it can only reach about 10%. He too shook his head. 10%? You're saying there's only a 1 in 10 chance? Lin Xian was dumbfounded. Kid, what's with that expression? He too was unhappy. Is 1 in 10 very little? Let me tell you, ordinary people can't even reach 1 in 100 million. Even those saints only have 1 in 10,000 chance. My master only has 1 in 10,000, and that's already very heaven-defying. What? Even saints who are more powerful than kings only have 1 in 10,000 chance? Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. He now knew how terrifying it was to become a great emperor. That's natural. From ancient times until now, there have only been a few great emperors. They can all be counted. The dark red divine dragon shook his head and sighed. I've even read in ancient books that there wasn't a single great emperor in 100,000 years. You can imagine how terrifying that was. Got it? Lin Xian nodded and almost bit his tongue. There were already billions of people in the Sky Martial continent, and the true spirit world was probably hundreds of times bigger than the Sky Martial continent. The population was also hundreds of times bigger. However, with so many billions of people, there wasn't a single great emperor in hundreds of thousands of years. One could imagine how terrifying the difficulty of becoming a great emperor was. It could be said that to become a great emperor, other than having extremely powerful strength, one also had to have extremely powerful luck. Only then could one become a great emperor. Lin Xian finally understood why He Tu said that he would nurture him into a great emperor. The dark red divine dragon's performance was like that, because it was simply impossible. However, after the initial shock, Lin Xian clenched his fists. Because now, he finally had an ultimate goal in life, and that was to embark on the path of becoming a great emperor. You're really willing to help me? Lin Xian looked at the broken sword and asked. To be honest, after knowing the difficulty of becoming a great emperor, Lin Xian was very curious about how He Tu would nurture him. Furthermore, there was another problem. He wanted to know if he could bring the Black Earth spirit ship away. One had to know that this was an extremely powerful flying tool. Whether it was leaving the Devil Abyss or leaving the Sky Martial continent, he would need the Black Earth spirit ship to go to the real great world. I have cultivation techniques, secret manuals, and some experiences left behind by my master. As long as you're willing, I'll do my best to help you. However, I have a condition, Heitu said. To avenge your master, Lin Xian replied with a question. You guessed right. That's what I want. Heitu's voice was firm. Obviously, he had thought of this condition long ago. Then who's the enemy? I won't tell you now, so as to avoid giving you pressure. When you have the qualifications to take revenge, I'll naturally tell you. Heitu said slowly. Of course, there's one more thing. You have to swear in front of my master's corpse. Otherwise, I won't help you. All right. Chapter 14:17. Of course, there's one more thing. You have to swear in front of my master's corpse. Otherwise, I won't help you. All right. Lin Xian didn't hesitate. This matter wasn't too bad for him. Moreover, it was good to have an enemy as motivation to move forward. Therefore, Lin Xian didn't hesitate. He immediately walked to Yi Guqing's side and swore solemnly. Don't worry, I'll definitely avenge you. If I go against it, I'll be consigned to eternal damnation. Seeing Lin Xian swear, Heitu heaved a sigh of relief and smiled. Great, there's finally hope for revenge. Heitu was very happy. Don't worry, I'll do my best to help you. From now on, you're my new master. After Heitu finished speaking, he gently tapped the ground with half of his sword. Suddenly, the ground in front of him emitted a gentle light. Then countless subdivine crystals appeared. The subdivine crystals you were looking for were all released by me. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to find the black earth in this devil abyss. So that's how it is. Lin Xian suddenly understood. Heitu was secretly controlling everything in order to let him in. Damn, so many subdivine crystals. Seeing the subdivine crystals on the ground, the dark red divine dragon's eyes immediately turned red. He pounced on them. Ha 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 ha, so many subdivine crystals. Mine, it's all mine. The dark red divine dragon went crazy with excitement. Lin Xian also opened his eyes wide in disbelief. The number of subdivine crystals here was many times more than the 50 subdivine crystals he had obtained before. Then he excitedly clenched his fists. With so many subdivine crystals, he believed that he could definitely let the great dragon sword soul enter the king realm. At that time, his combat strength would definitely undergo an earth-shattering change. Even if he encountered the black dragon sect leader and the king demonic beast outside, he wouldn't have any fear. Alright, hey Tu, I have something to ask you. Lin Xian said. Can the black earth still be operated? Although the black earth has been stored for a long time, it hasn't been damaged. It's just that it doesn't have any energy now. Therefore, in the coming days, not only do you have to increase your cultivation, you also have to search for the energy of the black earth. Otherwise, you can forget about leaving the Tiannan region and the Sky Martial continent for the rest of your life. Lin Xian was speechless. He didn't think that there would be a shortage of energy. This was indeed a thorny problem. This was because ordinary spirit boats were unable to cross the endless sea and reach the true great world. Only a genuine Earth-rank flying ship like this could pass through the endless sea. That was why so few people were able to leave the Martial Heaven continent. Alright, looks like I can only increase my strength and leave this place. I'll make plans for the raw materials in the future. However, Lin Xian did not forget to send a message to Morong Qingqing and Rua Bingshan, telling them not to worry. Otherwise, if the other party were to rush into the demon abyss and encounter danger, that would be bad. Black Earth was directly responsible for sending messages. Apart from not being able to fly, the Black Earth was still able to operate other things. For example, it wasn't difficult for it to activate a few formations and send messages out. This time, Lin Xian did it in time because Morong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan, who were far away, were indeed anxious. Not only them, Old Master Lin and the others were even more anxious. That was because they realized that Lin Xian had left for a long time and had not returned. Therefore, Morong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan wanted to go to the demon abyss to investigate. However, before they could move, they heard Lin Xian's voice transmission. After knowing that Lin Xian was safe, the two of them did not move. Otherwise, if they were to rashly go, they might really bump into the Black Dragon sect's leader, or a king demonic beast. If that was the case, the two of them would definitely be in danger. With nothing to worry about, Lin Xian began to cultivate here. At the side, the dark red dragon was also rapidly absorbing the subdivine crystal to recover its strength. Even the snow-white monkey came out and hugged a subdivine crystal to absorb it. He didn't know if Little White could absorb the energy inside, but it seemed like it wouldn't be a problem. No matter what, he had to enter the king realm, because according to He Tu, only by entering the king realm would one be able to survive in the large world. Below the king realm, one was an ant-like existence no matter where one went. Moreover, Lin Xian was even more special. If others found out that he possessed an offensive saint technique like the Dragon Sword Soul, it would definitely cause countless people to madly hunt him down. Therefore, it was impossible to not have strength. Just like that, Lin Xian and the dark red dragon started to cultivate madly. On the other hand, the Black Dragon sect's leader and the king demonic beast outside grew more and more impatient, because according to their own estimates, the killing formation around them would not be able to hold on for long at all for two ants. Therefore, in order to save their lives, they would definitely retreat. Moreover, they had blocked their path of retreat and could just wait for them to come. However, after such a long time, they had not seen a single person at all, and this caused them to feel more and more uneasy. Could it be that those two ants died inside because they were too greedy? When he thought of this possibility, the Black Dragon sect's leader's face became terrifyingly gloomy. 1 day, 2 days, 10 days, 20 days, 1 month. After a month had passed, the Black Dragon sect's leader was in complete despair. He knew that with the strength of those two ants, it was impossible for them to survive for such a long time. Presumably they had died inside. Thinking of this, he sighed. It was a pity that he did not obtain a single divine crystal after so many attempts. Moreover, this devil abyss was such a dangerous place that he could not take the risk to enter. Moreover, there was a king demonic beast beside him that was eyeing him covetously. Therefore, with a cold snort, the black dragon sect's leader soared into the sky and left. The king demonic beast let out 2 roars of dissatisfaction and quickly retreated. The entire devil abyss fell into silence once again, and only the thick clouds and mist drifted here. Lin Xian was still cultivating, and Morong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan were also waiting patiently outside, because they had received Lin Xian's voice transmission and knew that he was safe now. The only thing they could do was wait for Lin Xian to return. During this time, in the heavenly south region, although the Black Dragon sect had suffered heavy losses, as long as the Black Dragon sect's leader was around, the Martial Alliance and others could not overthrow the Black Dragon sect. Therefore, the entire Heavenly South region was still under the Black Dragon sect's rule. As for the distant Tianmu continent, the situation was also changing secretly. The palace master of the Palace of Gods of War, Lin Zhan, was still in seclusion and had not come out. After the Duan clan suffered a heavy blow, they also became quiet. However, it was obvious that they were waiting for the Duan clan's old ancestor to come out of seclusion, and then it would be time for them to counterattack. In a primitive forest far away from the cities, in the Tianmu continent, there was a huge canyon that was very deep, at least 10,000 meters. At the bottom of the canyon, there was a huge body. It was a strange bird that was completely black, and there were countless black flames burning on its feathers. Chapter 1418. Tianmu Continent. In a primeval forest far away from the cities, there was a huge canyon here. It was very deep, at least 10,000 meters. At the bottom of the canyon there was a huge body. It was a strange bird. Its body was pure black, and there were countless black flames burning on its feathers. These flames were many times stronger than the flames of the black dragon leader. If Lin Xian was here, he would definitely recognize it. This strange bird was naturally the heavenly netherbird. Previously, after the remote sky secret realm ended, the heavenly netherbird had followed everyone out and caused a ruckus. However, due to the astral chains on its body, its strength was limited. Coupled with the joint attack of the kings, the heavenly netherbird had suffered a great loss. Therefore, the heavenly netherbird did not appear after that. Furthermore, Lin Xian and the others did not find any traces of it. They did not expect it to be in this uninhabited canyon. At this moment, the heavenly netherbird was sitting there. The 9 underworld black flames were burning on its body. There were still 4 astral chains on its body. However, one of them was very dim, as if it would break at any moment. Pung! Sure enough, under the burning of the 9 nether black flames, one of the chains of stars cracked and broke into 2. The blue chains fell from the heavenly netherbbird's body. Feeling this change, the heavenly netherbird suddenly opened its eyes. Its gaze was like a black divine spear, piercing through the void. A human-like smile appeared on the bird's face. Ha 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 ha, I've finally succeeded. No matter how strong these astral chains are, they can't block my 9 underworld black flames. Just you wait. When I burn all 4 astral chains, it will be your doomsday. Damn brat, I won't forgive you. And this entire continent will become hell under my flames. The heavenly netherbird laughed crazily like a demon. Then, it closed its eyes again, and burned the other 3 astral chains with all its strength. No one knew about the heavenly netherbird, but one could imagine that once it broke free from the shackles of the astral chains, it would definitely be a demon. Perhaps the entire Tianwu continent would be plunged into a catastrophe. However, Lin Xian did not know any of this. Ever since he went into seclusion, he had not woken up. The great dragon sword soul in his body was like a bottomless pit, crazily absorbing the energy of the subgod crystals. During this time, the dark red dragon and the snow-white monkey woke up a few times, but Lin Xian still sat cross-legged with his eyes closed, cultivating. This one building lasted for a year. A year's time was not long, but it was not short. However, this year, Morong Qingqing and Rua Bingshan were extremely worried. Even though the 2 of them had received Lin Xian's voice transmission earlier, and knew that the other party was safe, they still didn't know what to do. But they did not expect Lin's and Lin Zuan's. At first, it was 1 month, then 2 months. By the 3rd month, Morong Qingqing could no longer sit still. Lin Xian Xian Xian, Lin Xian 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 Xian, Xian, and Xian. Perhaps something had happened on the other side, so he used the transportation formation on the spirit boat to send a voice transmission to Lin Xian. But she never received a response. This made Morong Qingqing very anxious. She knew that Lin Xian would definitely respond if he heard her voice. But there was no response. This confirmed her suspicions. However, Morong Qingqing did not believe that something had happened to Lin Xian, so she waited for another month. But this time, she could not wait any longer. She could only go to the demon abyss. Although she was a young prodigy, the demon abyss had a king's domain. She could not enter without becoming a king, unless she was like Lin Xian and had a king's killing formation. But there was only one king's killing formation. Morong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan could not enter at all. They could only wait outside anxiously. In the following days, Morong Qingqing sent a voice transmission to Lin Xian every 10 days, but she never received a response. Not only that, she insisted on going to the demon abyss every other month, but there was still no response. Just like that, it was the 9th month. This time, she was finally discovered by the Black Dragon sect. But fortunately, it was not the Black Dragon sect's leader, but other Black Dragon sect cultivators. These people were nothing to Morong Qingqing, so she left easily. However, this matter attracted the Black Dragon sect's attention. Later, more and more Black Dragon sect experts came to patrol the vicinity of the demon abyss. They even wanted to capture Morong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan. In the following days, the 2 of them did not dare to go out casually. After all, if they encountered the Black Dragon sect's leader, they would not be able to resist at all. In the spirit boat, not only were the two women anxious, but the Lin family members were even more anxious. Especially Old Master Lin and Second Uncle Lin, who were extremely anxious. Even Old Master Lin wanted to go out to search, but he was stopped by Morong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan. Going out now is tantamount to suicide. However, although they were extremely careful, they were still discovered under the Black Dragon sect's crazy search. Later on, the left and right envoys personally led countless experts to hunt them down. Everyone listen up. Seal that spirit boat. No need to do anything. Wait for the sect leader to come and deal with them. Hee little beauty, just you wait. When the time comes, you will suffer a fate worse than death. The left and right envoys' expressions were ferocious. Morong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan snorted coldly, but the Lin family members were extremely nervous. Don't worry, they're just a bunch of ants. As long as the Black Dragon sect's leader doesn't come personally, we will not be in danger. Rong Qingqing comforted Old Master Lin and the rest. Luo Bingshan's figure flashed as he rushed out of the spirit boat. Trying to run? Stop her! The right envoy shouted coldly. He waved his hand, and dozens of figures rushed forward. These people had ferocious expressions and powerful auras. They were all 9th level honored realm experts. It seemed like they were also experts of the Black Dragon sect. At this moment, more than 10 of them moved together. Even a half-step king would have a headache. Therefore, in these people's eyes, dealing with the little beauty was more than enough. Hee little beauty, hurry up and surrender. Ha 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 ha. I will take good care of you. The group of people laughed wildly, not taking it to heart. Luo Bingshan snorted coldly. In this year's time, her injuries had already healed, and her strength had already reached its peak. Facing these 9th level honored realm experts, her gaze was cold as she quickly pulled out the long saber at her waist. Wung! A saber light slashed out like water, abnormally cold. This saber was like a heavenly river, emitting a powerful killing intent, as if it wanted to tear the sky apart. What? Impossible. Not good retreat. The Black Dragon sect's martial artists' expressions changed instantly. Their expressions were filled with fear. They did not expect a little beauty to be so terrifying. Chapter 14:19. These people were too terrified. They did not expect a young woman to have such a terrifying blade light. Therefore, they could only retreat as fast as they could. At the same time, they activated their battle armors in an attempt to escape. However, this blade was too terrifying. They had no chance of resisting at all. Therefore, in the next moment, dozens of heads flew into the air as blood gushed out like a river. What? They're all dead. The surrounding Black Dragon cult martial artists were shocked. They could not believe it. Even the left and right envoys were shocked. They did not expect the opponent's strength to be so terrifying. She did not seem any weaker than them. Damn it! How is this possible? Who are they? The left and right envoys' faces were gloomy. The strength of the woman and snake that appeared before was already beyond their imagination. They did not expect another woman to appear, and her strength was not any weaker than them. Where did these people come from? It should be known that in the South Heaven region, other than the two of them who were half-step kings, no one else could fight against them. But now several of them had appeared at once. They could not accept this. Luo Bingshan killed dozens of 9th-level sovereigns with a single blade. Then, his eyes flashed like lightning as his entire body emitted a terrifying aura. Holding the long blade in his hand, he quickly slashed out several blade lights toward the left envoys. The surrounding Black Dragon cult disciples were scared and did not dare to stop him. However, the left envoys roared as his hair stood on end. He was too angry. Although the opponent was a half-step king, she was not a true half-step king. However, the opponent still dared to charge at him. It was as if she did not put him in her eyes at all. Therefore, in the next moment, he roared and exploded with an unparalleled strength. He decided to kill the woman in front of him personally, to intimidate the others on the spirit boat. Immediately, a terrifying wave of energy surged out of the left envoy's body and spread out in all directions. This left envoy was not a human. Their true form was a green flood dragon. At this moment, they used their full strength. Their dark green hair danced in the wind like countless little green snakes spiraling in the air. Their eyes were dark green and emitted a cold and gloomy light. This aura made all the surrounding Black Dragon cult disciples tremble as they involuntarily retreated. At the same time, they cheered excitedly. With the left envoy's help, they would definitely win. Little girl, go to hell! The green dragon left emissary shouted and emitted a green light all over his body. He stretched out his hand, and it turned into a huge green python that covered the sky and rushed forward. Rumble! The terrifying green python tore through the void, creating a terrifying crack in the air. Accompanied by the sound of thunder, it rapidly bombarded the surroundings. That momentum was exceptionally terrifying. However, Luo Bingshan coldly snorted and disappeared like a ghost. Boom! In the next moment, the void where she was originally standing was shattered. Countless cracks and black holes appeared, but Luo Bingshan's figure had long since disappeared. What? He dodged it. The surrounding Black Dragon cult cultivators were shocked. As for the left Azure Dragon envoy, his expression was gloomy. He had not expected the other party's speed to be so fast, to be able to dodge his attack. So what if he managed to unleash one more attack? I don't believe that you can dodge all my attacks. The left Green Dragon envoy sneered. He wanted to crush his opponent with his powerful aura. Just as this thought arose in his mind, suddenly, his expression changed drastically, and even became ferocious. There was also a tinge of fear in his eyes. That was because an extremely sharp aura suddenly came from behind him, as if it was going to split him in half. Damn it, get lost! The left Green Dragon envoy roared, and an unparalleled power exploded from his body. At the same time, countless green lights surrounded his body and formed a green snake armor. He was too shocked. He had not expected the other party to circle behind him in an instant and launch a fatal attack. Is the other party an assassin? His heart pounded wildly, because he had not sensed the other party's aura at all. He also did not know that the other party had appeared behind him. It was too late to run now because the blade was too fast. It was like a bolt of lightning that enveloped him in an instant. Therefore, he could only use all his strength to take the blade head-on. Boom! An earth-shattering sound was heard as the blade slashed the left Green Dragon envoy's body, emitting a dazzling light. Unparalleled power spread out in all directions. Block it! The left green dragon envoy's face was ferocious, and even python scales appeared on his body. Countless green snakes circled around his body, and his armor shone with an unparalleled light, like a green sun. However, the blade was too terrifying. It was like a heavenly blade that tore through all obstacles, and even broke the left green dragon envoy's armor. In the next moment, the terrifying blade radiance slashed the left green dragon envoy's body. Blood spurted out and his bones broke. A miserable cry was heard. Ah! The left green dragon envoy screamed in a ferocious voice. Hearing this voice, the surrounding martial artists felt their scalps go numb. They had not expected the powerful and terrifying left green dragon envoy to be defeated. Moreover, he was defeated in one move. Who was this woman? How could she be so terrifying? Everyone looked at Luo Bingshan with fear in their eyes. The left green dragon envoy used all his strength and retreated quickly. Blood splattered everywhere. In the end, he retreated a few hundred feet and stopped. Drip, drip. Blood was still flowing. He was in a terrible state. His entire body was almost split in half, and he had suffered extremely serious injuries. Seeing this scene, everyone swallowed their saliva and could not believe their eyes. That was the left green dragon envoy. He was the supreme existence of the Black Dragon sect. In the entire Tiannan region, no one could suppress him, except for the Black Dragon sect leader. However, the left green dragon envoy had suffered such serious injuries, and the one who attacked was a young woman. She had only used one blade to cause such injuries. This was too terrifying. The left green dragon envoy's face was also very gloomy. He did not expect his companion to be defeated in an instant and suffer such serious injuries. Damn it! He roared angrily. His body also exploded with a dazzling white light. He was like a god of war. He was extremely powerful. He had to make a move now and suppress his opponent. Otherwise, with her ghostly speed, he would be in danger if she tried to assassinate him. Look, the left green dragon envoy is making his move. The surrounding martial artists of the Black Dragon sect were extremely nervous. They had placed all their hopes on the left green dragon envoy. If the left green dragon envoy was defeated, the Black Dragon sect would be completely finished. Left green dragon palm. The left green dragon envoy made the first move. His entire body supported a powerful force, and the surrounding wind blew. He would not give his opponent a chance to sneak an attack. Chapter 1420. Free and Unfettered Palm. The right emissary made the first move. His entire body was filled with a powerful force, and a gale swept through the surroundings. He would not give his opponent a chance to launch a sneak attack. At the same time, he stretched out his palm and slapped forward. A huge light palm flew out from his palm, and quickly pressed forward. The resplendent light illuminated the surroundings. That palm of light contained an incomparable amount of energy. This palm was like a white mountain that pushed across the sky. The entire sky shook as if it was about to collapse. Humph! Luo Bingshan snorted coldly. Although the opponent was a half-step king, she did not care about him at all. 8 blades of the ocean abyss. This time, Luo Bingshan did not dodge. Instead, she faced it head-on. The 8 blades of the ocean abyss was an earth-class cultivation technique. It had been used by the Duong clan's disciple in the remote sky secret realm. Now it had reappeared in the hands of the Luo Bingshan. This earth-class cultivation technique in the hands of Luo Bingshan was several times stronger than in the hands of Yanfeng. That terrifying saber light transformed into one after another surging Milky Way, constantly roaring in the air. As the blade slashed out, a resplendent light blossomed in the void. The terrifying blade light illuminated the surroundings and slashed forward. Both of them were using their ultimate techniques. It could be said that their momentum was terrifying. However, Luo Bingshan was using a true earth-class cultivation technique. As for the right emissary, no matter how powerful he was, he only had a half-step earth-class cultivation technique. The two of them could not be mentioned in the same breath. Therefore, as soon as they clashed, the huge light palm of the right emissary was sliced apart and turned into countless spiritual qi that dissipated in the air. Impossible! Seeing his ultimate technique being sliced apart so easily, the right emissary screamed. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Impossible! How is this possible? He clenched his teeth. At the same time, his palms changed rapidly. He clenched both hands into fists and punched out quickly. Divine Azura Fist. The terrifying fist blossomed with blood-red light. The right emissary's eyes shone with the terrifying light. Boundless killing intent soared from his body. At this moment, he used another ultimate technique, the Divine Azura Fist. Apart from being terrifying, this fist technique also carried a dense, baleful aura. It dyed the entire sky blood-red. Those fist shadows transformed into red flood dragons, rushing out at high speed. For a time, the sky once again fell into chaos. The eyes of the surrounding Black Dragon cult disciples were also bloodshot. Each and every one of them looked ferocious, and wanted nothing more than to pounce forward and fight. However, they were simply unable to approach. Merely the aftermath of the energy was enough to blow them away. Luo Bingshan's expression was ice-cold. With a light snort, the long saber in his hand slashed out again. 8 blades of the ocean abyss, the second blade, White Shark Slash. The long saber slashed out, and countless saber lights gathered to form a huge white shark. This great white shark's entire body was radiating light. Its entire body was formed from saber radiance. It was extremely terrifying. It carried with it an astonishingly sharp aura, as it flew rapidly in the air. Instantly, the countless baleful auras in the sky were sliced into countless pieces by the saber light, and fell rapidly. The 2 blood-colored divine fists were also swallowed by the white shark formed by the saber light. What? It broke again. This is impossible. The carefree right emissary felt his scalp go numb in disbelief. Although he knew that his opponent was powerful and had the strength of a half-step king, it was still impossible for him to break through his attack so easily. It should be known that he was also a half-step king. No matter what, both sides would have to exchange several hundred moves before the outcome would be decided. However, his opponent's strength was too powerful. Moreover, his attack power was extremely sharp. Victory and defeat were often decided in one move. How was this a battle between 2 people of the same realm? This was simply a one-sided battle. The carefree right emissary seemed to have gone mad and wanted to attack again. However, opposite him, Luo Bingshan coldly said, "You don't have the chance." 8 blades of the ocean abyss, the third blade. The long saber flickered, and this time, it transformed into a huge whale that roared in the air. That huge body filled the entire sky. The terrifying power made everyone's heart tremble. Even some of the weaker ones directly knelt down. No! The carefree right emissary crazily shouted. However, that huge blue whale directly floated down and swallowed him. Terrifying energy exploded, completely submerging the entire void. Bang! Bang! The carefree right emissary screamed again, and again, as he was blasted away by this energy. Many places on his body were pierced, and terrifying bloody holes appeared one after another. Blood flowed out continuously, and his bones were broken. It could be said that he had suffered severe injuries. It seemed that he would not live for long. What? The carefree right emissary was also defeated? How is this possible? Everyone was extremely shocked, and could not believe it. The left and right emissaries were existences that were second only to the sect leader in the Black Dragon sect. They were experts that were second only to the sect leader. However, at this moment, they were actually defeated, and easily defeated. Moreover, the opponent was only a young and beautiful woman. They probably would not have imagined such a scene even in their dreams. Luo Bingshan coldly snorted and glanced around. Immediately, those disciples of the Black Dragon sect were so frightened that they all sat on the ground, not daring to resist. Luo Bingshan snorted again, and put away his long saber. He turned around, and walked towards the spirit boat. She had no interest in the surrounding disciples, because they were not worthy of her attack. Seeing that she was about to leave, none of the disciples of the Black Dragon sect dared to stop her. They only hoped that this murderous star in front of them would leave quickly, so that they could live. However, at this moment, something strange happened. A black light suddenly lit up the sky. It was like a black lightning bolt that instantly rushed towards Luo Bingshan. Wherever it passed, the entire sky seemed to be split in half. Terrifying airwaves rolled out in all directions. The speed was so fast that it produced a muffled sound that made one's scalp tingle. "You're courting death." Luo Bingshan glared with anger. She did not expect that the other party would dare to attack. With a cold snort, she turned around and slashed with her saber. Boom! The air exploded, producing a huge amount of energy that swept out in all directions. However, the result was beyond everyone's expectations. Previously, Luo Bingshan was extremely powerful and defeated the left and right envoys with a few simple moves. But now, she was actually blasted away. That's right, it was Luo Bingshan who was sent flying in this collision. Everyone was shocked and in disbelief. Boom boom boom. Luo Bingshan only stopped after retreating for a few thousand meters. There was even a trace of blood at the corner of her mouth. Shock appeared in her beautiful eyes. She did not expect that someone could send her flying. In the next moment, Luo Bingshan's face turned cold as she looked ahead. Then she was stunned. There was even a trace of shock in her eyes. The person who sent her flying was actually the left green dragon envoy. It was the person who was almost split in half by her saber. What? How is this possible? With such a serious injury, he can't even exert much combat strength? But now the other party was full of energy. His aura was even more powerful than before. Chapter 1421. Luo Bingshan's jade-like face was cold as she looked ahead. Then, she was stunned, and a trace of shock appeared on her face. Because the one who sent her flying was actually the left green dragon envoy. It was the person who was almost split in half by her. What? How is this possible? With such a heavy injury, he can't even exert much combat strength? But now, the other party was full of energy, and his aura was even more powerful than before. What's going on? Not only was Luo Bingshan confused, but everyone was also confused. They knew that there must have been an unexpected change, because the left green dragon envoy had already changed his appearance. His body, which had been split into two, had begun to heal at this moment. Countless black flames danced between his wounds. Not only that, but there were also black lines that appeared on his body. They were densely packed and looked very mysterious. In his eye sockets, there were two balls of black flames dancing. Every time they jumped, they released an extremely powerful aura. Luo Bingshan observed carefully and said coldly, "You're not the person from before." She realized that although this person's body was the same as before, his aura and soul were different. I didn't expect you to be so knowledgeable. You can actually see that I'm a clone. A cold voice came from the left green dragon envoy. Hearing this voice, the surrounding black dragon sect martial artists were all in an uproar. What? That's the sect leader's voice. Sect leader, it's the sect leader. The sect leader has made his move. Everyone was extremely excited as they looked at the left green dragon envoy in front of them. They knew that the sect leader was a true king. So as long as he made his move, he could kill everyone. The sect leader of the Black Dragon sect? This is impossible. How can a king's aura be so weak? Luo Bingshan frowned. What do you know? This is just a clone of mine. Although it's just a clone, it's not something you can fight against. I advise you to kneel down obediently and surrender. Maybe I can let you go and take you as a slave. Otherwise, you'll all die without a burial place. It's just a clone. Luo Bingshan frowned. She didn't expect a king to be so powerful. Just a clone was enough to send her flying. But then, she gritted her teeth and snorted coldly. Don't be so arrogant. If your real body came, I naturally wouldn't be able to resist. But it's just a clone. Do you really think you can subdue me? Luo Bingshan snorted coldly. Then he clenched his long saber and attacked quickly. Humph. Looks like you still don't understand the strength of a king. Alright, I'll let you experience it today. The left green dragon envoy sneered. The black light in his eyes suddenly bloomed, and the black lines on his body also shone with a jet black light. She looked extremely ferocious. Then, she let out a roar and charged forward. For a moment, the two of them were locked in battle. Terrifying energy surged as everyone watched nervously. At this moment, the carefree right emissary, who had been severely injured, suddenly screamed. A ferocious expression appeared on his face. Black veins began to appear all over his body, starting from the back of his neck and spreading all over his body. Sect leader, spare my life. Spare me. The carefree right emissary knelt in the air and shouted with great difficulty. But no one paid any attention to him. Not only did the black veins on his body not weaken, they spread even faster and covered his entire body in an instant. In the end, the carefree right emissary screamed. His eyes lost their luster, and he froze in the air like a statue. But soon, two balls of black flames appeared in his eyes. Then he stood up again. Black veins appeared all over his body, shining with a jet black light. Two balls of black flames danced in his eyes, and he looked extremely cold. Humph, trash. It's your honor to have my clone here. A deep and cold voice came from the carefree right emissary. Obviously, this was the other clone of the Black Dragon sect leader. The two clones were going to take down the spiritual boat in front of them. The carefree right emissary looked around coldly. Then, he stared at Luo Bingshan in front of him. A cold smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Then, he turned into a bolt of black lightning and charged forward. The battle in front of him was extremely intense. Luo Bingshan held his long saber and looked like a killing god. His saber radiance was like water. It was extremely cold and released a terrifying aura. Every saber gleam was like a Milky Way as it swept through the surroundings. On the other side, the green dragon left emissary was even more berserk. He was no longer the green dragon from before. Instead, he was the clone of the Black Dragon sect leader. Boundless black flames spread all over his body, releasing a scorching aura. Every strike of his terrifying black palm could pierce through the void. I admit that you're very strong, and can beat most half-step kings. But against me, you have no chance of winning. Black Dragon Palm, die for me. The green dragon left emissary laughed nastily. The black veins on his palm shone brightly. He waved his palm, and a black flood dragon flew out of his palm, and roared as it charged forward. Soon it turned into a dragon-shaped palm. The palm directly shattered all the saber radiances in front of him. The terrifying palm was like a black demonic mountain, pressing down on Luo Bingshan. The palm had not yet arrived, but the scorching aura still made Luo Bingshan's black robe flutter. Luo Bingshan even felt an extremely hot aura, as if it was going to melt her. With a shout, Luo Bingshan released all her spiritual power, and struck out with the fourth move of the 8 Ocean Abyss Blades. The shocking saber radiance tore through the void, releasing a terrifying aura. However, at this moment, another cold aura rushed over from behind her left. It was the right emissary. He took advantage of Luo Bingshan's attack to launch a sneak attack. Not good. Feeling this killing intent, Luo Bingshan's heart beat wildly. The Lin family clansmen on the spirit boat cried out in alarm. However, the right and left emissaries revealed a sinister smile. In their eyes, the opponent was dead for sure. The surrounding Black Dragon sect martial artists cheered wildly. This was great. The demoness before them was finally going to be killed. The two clones of the Black Dragon sect leader charged toward Luo Bingshan, and it seemed like they were about to succeed. However, at this moment, a purple radiance descended from the sky and blocked the right emissary's path. This radiance was like a purple aura from the east, carrying boundless energy. It blocked the right emissary and resolved Luo Bingshan's crisis. Damn it! The right emissary roared crazily. He didn't expect such a good opportunity to kill to be blocked. This made him extremely furious. On the other hand, Luo Bingshan breathed a sigh of relief. She knew that Morong Qingqing had made her move. Sure enough, the purple cloud in the sky quickly transformed into a beautiful woman. This woman wore a purple dress and had a beautiful face. She was like a fairy, untainted by the mortal world. She was none other than Morong Qingqing. When Luo Binson was in danger, she acted in time and blocked the right emissary. Another woman. Chapter 1422. This woman was dressed in a long purple dress. Her face was as beautiful as a fairy, and she looked otherworldly. She was Morong Qingqing. When Luo Bingshan was in danger, she intervened and stopped the right emissary. Another woman? The right emissary was shocked. He did not expect another young woman to intervene. He thought for a long time, but could not figure out who the woman in purple was. However, when he saw her peerless face, a vicious grin appeared on his face. I did not expect such a beauty to exist in this world. What?
It just so happens
blocked
that
it.
I'm still lacking a
The carefree
hierarch's
right
wife.
emissary was shocked.
Just follow me back
He
immediately.
did not expect the
Don't
opponent
worry.
to be able
As
to
long
block
as
his
you
black
obey me,
lightning attack.
I will let your
One had to
companions
know
go.
that this was a black
Otherwise,
lightning that could
I
kill
will
a
tear them into
half-step king.
pieces.
The opponent was only a
Wishful
ninth
thinking.
celestial layer girl.
Morong Ching
How
Ching
could she
snorted,
block it?
and her beautiful
that
face
blue
was
armor
filled
is
with
very
coldness.
strange.
In the
It
next
seems to be
moment,
able to reduce
a
the
purple
power
light
by more
gushed
than
out from
half.
her body and
The
spread out
carefree
in all
right
directions,
emissary's eyes were like
forming
lightning
a purple
as he
cloud
stared at the
between
cosmic
heaven
battle
and
armor.
earth. Countless
Then a
purple
fiery
lights
light
surrounded
burst out
her.
from his eyes.
It was as if a
Even I
fairy
don't
had
have such
descended
an
from
armor.
the east.
Where did this
When
girl
the purple
get it?
aura appeared,
I don't
the
care.
scorching aura
This
in the
treasure
void
must be
weakened.
mine.
I did not
Flames
expect
of
you
greed
to be so
appeared in his
beautiful
eyes.
and powerful.
He had no choice.
But this is good.
Even if
You
he
are
was
more
the leader
suitable
of the
to be my
Black Dragon
wife.
sect,
He
so
did not
you
have
should
such
obey
a
me.
thing. The
Even
right
emissary
emissary
laughed
marshal
sinisterly,
continent and
there
rushed
were not
toward
many
Morong
of them.
Chingcheng.
Moreover,
On the other
in the
side,
remote Tianan
Green
region,
Dragon's Wusher was
it was
fighting
even
with
more
Luo
impossible
Bingshan
to have
again.
one.
Morong
Girl,
Chingcheng
hurry up
snorted
and surrender.
took out the real
You
phoenix
can't resist at
Imperial
all.
Jade Seal
The
without
carefree right
hesitation.
emissary sneered
Then
again.
she infused the
Then he
power of her
waved his
bloodline
hand.
into it.
Suddenly,
Buzz!
the few
Behind
black
her,
lightning
a
bolts
purple
around him
phoenix shadow
surged
appeared.
rapidly like
In
black
the end,
dragons.
it formed
Then,
two purple
the sky
phoenix
resounded
wings,
with the sound
wrapping
of thunder.
around Morong
The
Chingcheng's
terrifying
body.
thunder
The
shook the
horrifying
heavens and the
phoenix
earth,
shadow also
causing
lingered
the
around
surrounding
her.
martial
She waved
artists
her
to
hand,
tremble.
and a purple
Many
phoenix
people's
rushed
minds
out.
went blank.
It
and they
roared
fell
in the
from
air
the
and
sky.
charged toward the right
spiritual
emissary.
boat in the distance
What?
shone with
What a pure
incomparable
phoenix
light.
bloodline.
The array
right
on it was
emissary's
fully
people
activated
shrank,
to resist
and he was
the surging
shocked.
power.
Then he became
Inside the
ecstatic
spiritual
again.
boat,
Old Master
good.
Lin,
I did
and
not
the rest of
expect
the
you
Lin
to have
family
such
were
a
pale.
pure bloodline
They
power.
looked at the
I
apocalyptic
cannot let you
scene
go,
and were shocked.
Fortunately,
In the next moment,
the spiritual
carefree
boat's
right emissary
defense
let
was
out a
very
long
strong.
howl. It did
Suddenly,
not break through in
a
a
clap
short
of
time.
thunder resounded
Therefore,
through the
they were
heavens
not
and
hurt
earth.
at all.
Around
Countless
him,
thunders
8
exploded
black
in the
lightning
sky,
companions appeared,
flickering with
descending
incomparable
along
energy.
with him.
Forcing
Every
Morong
single black
Chingcheng to
lightning
back
bolt
off.
could kill a
Then
half-step
7
king,
black lightning
and that
bolts
terrifying
connected the
aura
heavens
made
and
everyone
the earth.
despair.
They flew
8
quickly
black
towards Morong
thunderbolts surrounded
Chingcheng
the
and
carefree
locked
right
her in the
emissary,
sky, and
the 7
bombarded
black
in all
lightning
directions.
bolts shot towards
This
the
scene
sky
was too
and formed a
terrifying.
7-pointed
Every
star
single
cage,
bolt of lightning
trapping
could kill a
Morong
half-step
Chingcheng in
king.
it.
The surrounding Black
That's
Dragon
great.
sect martial
The martial
practitioners,
artists from the
as
Black
well as
Dragon
the Lin
sect
family
cheered when they
saw
saw
the
the
scene.
spirit boat in the
carefree
distance.
right emissary
All revealed
sneered.
terrified
He even
expressions.
crossed his arms
In the
and
face
looked
of
as if
this
he was
black
watching a
lightning.
show. They had no
How is it,
power to
girl?
resist at
I've
all.
said it before.
Especially
You're
old
no match
Master
for
Lin
me.
and
You'd
second
better
Uncle
go back
Lin.
with me
They
obediently
were worried
and be
about
my
the
wife.
safety of Morong
On the other
Chingcheng
side,
and Luo
Luo
Bingshan saw
Boom.
the scene and
A
shouted.
black thunderbolt
She
shot
turned
out
around
at a
to
high
save
speed
Morong
towards
Chingcheng.
Morong Chingcheng.
However, she was
exploding
blocked
right
by the
next
Green
to her.
Dragon left
The
emissary.
terrifying lightning
Hee,
illuminated
you'd better
the
worry
surroundings,
about yourself first.
making it impossible
The Green
for
Dragon
anyone
left
to open their
emissary
eyes.
sneered. His
Morong
eyes were
Chingcheng's
burning with
expression
passion.
also changed.
Countless black
She
flames
let out a
surged on
shout
his palm
and quickly used
formed
the
a
cosmic
black dragon
battle
claw
armor
to cover
then
her
he
entire
clawed forward.
body.
Boom.
At the same time,
the black dragon
she crazily
was very
pushed the Phoenix
terrifying.
Phantom behind
It
her.
carried a monstrous
Suddenly,
power and
the
tore
blue
through the
starry
void.
sky armor
5
appeared and
bull-sized
covered
black
her
holes
entire
appeared.
body. Only
Black
her
light
beautiful
flashed.
eyes could be seen. Not only that, the huge phoenix behind her spread its wings and enveloped Morong Chingcheng. Boom! Morong Chingcheng took the attack of the black lightning head-on and was immediately forced back. However, with the cosmic battle armor reducing the damage by 70% and the protection of the Phoenix Phantom, she did not suffer any injuries this time. Only the chi and blood in her body kept on rolling. Luo Bingshan did not dare to take it head-on. She could only dodge quickly. However, the other party was very fast. Therefore, Luo Bingshan was at a disadvantage and could not spare any time to save Morong Chingcheng. Chapter 1423. Boom! The black dragon claw was extremely terrifying. It carried a monstrous power, and instantly tore through the void. 5 bull-sized black holes even appeared. It flickered with a dark light. Luo Bingshan did not dare to take it head-on. He could only dodge quickly. However, the opponent's speed was also very fast. Therefore, Luo Bingshan was at a disadvantage, and could not spare any time to rescue him. The carefree envoy of the right had a sinister smile on his face. He stepped into the air, and walked toward Morong Qingcheng. "Little girl, come with me obediently." He laughed sinisterly and stretched out a huge palm to grab Morong Qingcheng. This time, Morong Qingcheng shouted. A purple phoenix rushed out of her body, and instantly roared in all directions. An extremely powerful energy surged out and blasted the carefree envoy of the right's hand, causing him to retreat. His palm even cracked, revealing eerie white bones on the balcony. You, die. The carefree envoy of the right felt a stabbing pain, and was extremely furious. His face immediately turned sinister. He did not expect the opponent to still have the strength to resist after being trapped by his 7 lightning bolts. Moreover, the power was so terrifying that it even pierced through his hand. This was too great. It was hard to believe. I don't believe you can last long." The carefree envoy of the right snorted with a sinister expression. Suddenly, several lightning bolts in the sky continuously bombarded. On the other hand, Morong Qingcheng's expression was cold. She supported the purple phoenix, and resisted with difficulty. Although she was not in danger for the time being, it would not be long before she was injured by the black lightning bolts. On the other side, Green Dragon's Wuxia also used his great magic power, and transformed into countless black flames. They formed a black flame cage, and trapped Luo Bingshan inside. Ha 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 ha! Green Dragon's Wuxia laughed loudly when he saw Luo Bingshan trapped, and unable to escape. The surrounding black dragon sect martial artists laughed wildly. Their expressions were filled with excitement. Subdued, we finally subdued the 2 troublesome enemies. As expected of the sect leader's clone. He's too powerful. The left and right envoys also sneered. Then they no longer cared about Morong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan. In their opinion, the other party would not be able to hold on for long. It was better to trap and suppress them first. Therefore, the 2 of them turned around, and stared at the spirit boat in the distance. The left and right messengers sneered before they slowly walked towards the spirit boat. The demonic abyss below was surrounded by clouds and mist. It was extremely mysterious. And in this demon abyss, there was an extremely large spirit ship called the Black Earth. The Black Earth had existed in the demon abyss for countless years, but no one had ever known about it. This was because no one had ever been able to enter the demon abyss. Of course, there was one exception, and that was Lin Xian. At this moment, Lin Xian had been training on the Black Earth for a year. His entire body was surrounded by resplendent light and surging energy, making him look like a holy war god. On the side, the Crimson Dragon and the Snow White Monkey had already woken up. After absorbing a large amount of demigod realm energy, the Dark Red Divine Dragon had successfully recovered to the King Realm 2 months ago. He had become a 1-star King tier. This caused the Dark Red Dragon to become extremely excited during these 2 months. It constantly roared, causing the entire demon abyss to be filled with ghostly wails and howls. Fortunately, there weren't any cultivators nearby. Otherwise, they would definitely be scared to death. However, after being excited for 2 months, the Dark Red Divine Dragon was also tired. So it was currently lying on the side listlessly. On the side, the Snow White Monkey was also hugging a spirit fruit and eating happily. It had also absorbed a lot of demigod crystals. Although it hadn't stepped into the king's scripture, the Dark Red Divine Dragon had tested it. With its current strength, it was still unable to completely subdue the monkey. This meant that the monkey was at least a King Realm expert. This monkey is too strange. What species is it? Even I couldn't tell. The Dark Red Divine Dragon held its chin, and was extremely displeased. On the side, the Black Earth was still attached to the broken sword. It floated in the sky and circled around the Snow White Monkey. To be honest, even he had a trace of suspicion, and wasn't completely sure. I say, hey too, when will this brat wake up? It's already been a year. It's really boring to be cooped up in this spirit ship. The dark red divine dragon asked. During this year, it had already become familiar with the Black Earth. The Black Earth was just a slightly more powerful artifact spirit. It wasn't strange to the dark red divine dragon. The Black Earth shook the broken sword and said, "Not necessarily. The great dragon sword soul is extremely mysterious. No one knows exactly how much strength he needs to enter the king realm. But I think it's about time. Perhaps he'll wake up in the next 1 or 2 months." The Black Earth spoke slowly. In the end, it looked at the dark red divine dragon and said, "Right, you should go out for a while. Your companions outside are in danger." "You're saying that those 2 girls and the people on the spirit ship are in danger?" The dark red divine dragon jumped up. "It should be the black dragon sect that attacked them. Moreover, the situation is very bad. Damn, why didn't you say such an important thing earlier?" The dark red divine dragon was anxious. He knew that the people on the spirit ship were extremely important to Lin Xian. If anything happened, Lin Xian would definitely go berserk. At that time, he didn't dare to imagine the consequences. Sure enough, before he could move, Lin Xian, who had been cultivating at the side, suddenly opened his eyes. His gaze was like a sharp sword that caused the entire space to tremble violently. "Say it earlier if something like this happens next time." Lin Xian's voice was cold as he quickly stood up. Then, his figure flashed and instantly disappeared on the spot. Only the dark red divine dragon and the Black Earth who was floating in the air were left behind. "It's a good thing that you said it. Otherwise he would definitely tear your Black Earth apart." The dark red divine dragon sighed. He knew Lin Xian's temper very well, and how important the people on the ship were to Lin Xian. The Black Earth shook his sword. He didn't expect Lin Xian to have such a temper. However, after half a day he came back to his senses and said, "Yes, not bad. You're indeed a righteous person. Looks like I didn't choose the wrong person." In the end, this fellow actually became happy again. "Alright, I'll go take a look." The dark red divine dragon ignored the Black Earth and also left. Wuji the snow-white little monkey also jumped on the dark red divine dragon's back and hugged the spirit fruit, unwilling to let go. In the outside world, in the sky of Xia country, Morong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan were resisting with difficulty. Morong Qingqing's body was surrounded by a purple phoenix, resisting the 7 black lightning bolts around her. The 7 black lightning bolts kept shrinking and were now less than 5 feet away from her. Luo Bingshan was in even more danger. The black flame cage was less than 10 feet away from her. Soon it would burn her. If she was burned by the black flames, even if the falling ice mountain had the strength of a half-step king, it would be difficult for her to resist. Chapter 1424. Luo Bingshan was in even more danger. The black flame cage was less than 10 meters away from her. Soon it would burn her. If she was burned by the black flame, even if she had the strength of a half-step king, it would be difficult for her to resist. However, this was not the most worrying thing. The most worrying thing was the spirit boat behind them. Everyone on it was Lin family members. There was not a single venerable. If the formation on the spirit boat was broken, the people on it would be in danger. No. Luo Bingshan's eyes were filled with despair. How dare you? Morong Qingqing's face was also cold. She was so angry that her body trembled. She activated her bloodline power and bombarded the black lightning around her. However, no matter what she did, she could not move it at all. This made her feel powerless. She even bit her lip until it bled. Those were Lin Xian's family members. Before Lin Xian left, he had told her to protect them. But now, she had to watch the Lin family members suffer. How was she going to explain this to Lin Xian in the future? The left and right envoys sneered and slowly approached the spirit boat. Not bad, not bad. I didn't expect this spirit boat to be of such a high grade. It's actually a half-Earth rank artifact. And it's even a half-Earth rank artifact. The left and right envoys looked at the spirit boat and nodded. It seemed that they were very satisfied with this spirit boat. The formation on it is also very exquisite. Ordinary half-step kings can't break it. But now that might not be the case. The two of them sneered. They were not ordinary half-step kings. They were the clones of the Black Dragon Hierarch. Their strength was above that of half-step kings. Therefore, as long as they attacked with all their strength, breaking the formation would not be a problem. As for the Lin family members on it, they naturally did not care. In their eyes, they were just a bunch of ants. They just wanted to kill them. What they wanted was this spirit boat. Boom! The left envoy sneered and pressed his palm forward. Suddenly, a black palm surged out and slammed into the spirit boat. Wung! The formation on the spirit boat spun and flickered with dazzling light. It quickly resisted the attack. There was a violent explosion in the air, and the entire spirit boat shook violently. The Lin family clansmen inside were thrown to the side. Clan leader, what should we do? The members of the Lin clan were terrified. They could only look at Old Master Lin. Old Master Lin's face was also gloomy. He didn't expect to fall into danger again, after just escaping from the ice. If these people were killed, then the Lin family's bloodline would be cut off. However, as the head of the family, he could not afford to panic. Why are you panicking? This spirit boat is very magical, and the array formation on it is also very huge. They might not be able to break it. Furthermore, I believe that little Xian will definitely return. Hearing Old Master Lin's words, the surrounding Lin family members calmed down. Then, they clenched their fists and looked outside angrily through the array. Outside, Green Dragon's Wuxia was surprised after he struck out with his palm. He didn't expect the formation to be so powerful that it could withstand his attack. This array is so mysterious. I'm afraid it's not from the Tiannan region. Where did it come from? Could it be something from the Tianwu continent? Green Dragon's Wuxia's eyes flickered. The more he looked at it, the more he felt that it was possible. Only that place could create such an exquisite thing. Stop fooling around. Hurry up and take back the spirit boat. Carefree envoy, you said in a deep voice. Then, a bolt of black lightning appeared in his palm again, and quickly blasted forward. Rumble! The black lightning carried a monstrous force and struck the spirit boat, causing countless explosions. Boom! 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 The two of them kept attacking the array formation on the spirit boat. Both of them were king's avatars, and were extremely powerful. Now that they were attacking together, the array formation kept shaking. The light screen shook violently, and looked like it would break at any moment. At the back, Morong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan were pale. They fought back frantically, trying to escape the cage. However, they couldn't break through the black dragon flame and the black lightning. They could only watch as the left and right envoys attacked. Crack! 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 Finally, under the intense attacks, the light screen on the spirit boat cracked like a mirror. Terrifying cracks crawled all over it. Not good. Morong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan's faces changed. They knew that things were going to get worse. Without the defense of the array formation, the Lin family members couldn't withstand a casual attack from the left and right envoys. On the spirit boat, the Lin family members' faces changed. They didn't expect the array formation to be broken. Even old Master Lin's face darkened. However, as the head of the Lin family, he still roared. The Lin family members aren't cowards. Even if we have to die, we will die in battle. Everyone listen up. Pick up your weapons. Yes. The Lin family members behind him roared. At this moment, the wildness in their hearts rose. They took out their swords and sabers, ready to fight to the death. You want to fight to the death with us? The left and right envoy sneered. A bunch of ants. Do you really think you can defeat a giant dragon? You're overestimating yourselves. To be honest, they didn't care. The people in front of them were no different from ants. With a single finger, they could easily wipe out the entire Lin family. The left and right envoys looked down at the Lin family members, as though they were looking at ants. As long as they used their strength, they could kill all of them. In the next moment, Green Dragon's Wuxia sneered and raised his arm. Just as the arm was about to land, he suddenly frowned and turned his head to the left. You're courting death. With a roar, Green Dragon's Wuxia didn't attack again. Instead, he slashed his palm to the left. Buzz! In the next moment, the void vibrated and a figure appeared. It was a middle-aged man in black. He had an ordinary face and held a long sword in his hand that emitted a cold light. However, at this moment, the middle-aged assassin's face was pale, and there was a tinge of fear in his eyes. His body swayed, and he quickly retreated to the back. However, Green Dragon's Wuxia's palm was faster. Like a black dragon claw, it grabbed the assassin and crushed his head. Boom! Like a watermelon being split open, blood splattered, and the headless corpse fell to the ground. Trying to sneak an attack on me? You're courting death. Green Dragon's Wuxia sneered and his face was full of disdain. On the spiritual boat, the Lin family martial artists were in despair. This was because they knew that the martial artist who had attacked them was one of the 3 5-star assassins who had been protecting them. This person was powerful and could even kill a peak rank 9 martial artist. However, he couldn't even dodge a single attack from Green Dragon's Wuxia. He was killed directly. Chapter 1425. Looking at the scene before them, the Lin family martial artists on the spiritual boat in front were in despair. This was because they knew that the martial artist who had attacked previously was one of the 3 5-star assassins who had been protecting them. This person was powerful, and could even assassinate a peak rank 9 martial artist. However, in the hands of the left green dragon emissary, he could not even dodge a single attack. He was killed directly. This was too terrifying. Behind them, Morong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan looked solemn. The left green dragon emissary sneered and attacked again. In the next instant, 2 figures appeared from the void and charged towards the left green dragon emissary and right emissary Xiaoya respectively. Their appearance was very sudden, as though they were ghosts. The aura on their bodies was even sharper. It was as though they had become one with the long sword in their hands, forming a killing sword that exuded a terrifying murderous aura. This murderous aura was so intense that it materialized into rays of light that surrounded their bodies. Those who were proficient in assassination knew that this murderous aura was too terrifying. It was formed from countless battles and blood. It had a terrifying aura. An ordinary martial artist would not be able to resist this aura at all. Just this murderous aura alone could destroy the opponent's willpower and soul. In the next instant, the 2 of them turned into shocking rays of light and stabbed towards the left and right emissaries. However, the left and right emissaries sneered. They already knew that there were people beside them. When they saw the other party attack, they snorted in disdain. Buzz! 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 The 2 long swords turned into cold rays of light and stabbed respectively. However, they stopped 3 meters in front of them. It was as though they had been grabbed by a pair of invisible hands and could not move forward at all. Ants will always be ants. Even if it's an assassination, you won't stand a chance. Emissary Xiaoyao sneered in disdain and pointed his finger. Poof! Poof! The bodies of the 2 5-star assassins split open and turned into a bloody mist that filled the air. In the face of 2 king avatars, they had no power to resist at all. They're all dead. On the spiritual boat, the Lin family members' eyes were filled with shock and despair when they saw this. They did not expect that the 3 5-star assassins, who had been protecting them, would be killed so easily. Were they really at the end of the road? Alright, the game is over. You have no more tricks up your sleeves. Now I'll send you on your way. The carefree right emissary grinned as countless lightning bolts surged out of his palm and circled around his fingertips. In the next moment, he stretched out his palm and grabbed forward. No! Luo Bingshan frantically shook his head. Everyone listen up. Kill! Old Master Lin shouted angrily as he gripped the long sword in his hand tightly. The Lin clansmen behind him also had resolute expressions on their faces. Even if they were to die in battle, they absolutely could not disgrace the Lin clan's reputation. Lin Xian, come quickly! Morong Qingqing screamed as tears streamed down her face. Ha 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 ha! No matter how you struggle, you won't be able to escape death. This is the fate of an ant. The carefree right emissary laughed arrogantly, then quickly pressed his palm down. Boom! An earth-shattering collision sound rang out, and terrifying energy exploded in the air. Morong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan had already closed their eyes. They did not dare to look anymore. As for the Lin clan members behind them, they were all prepared to die in battle. However, at this moment, a figure suddenly appeared and landed in front of the Lin clan members. He then threw a punch. Boom! In the next moment, a blood-curdling scream was heard. The scream was extremely miserable, and it did not even sound like it came from a human. What? The Lin clan members were all stunned as they realized that the scream did not come from their clan members. Then they looked forward and froze on the spot. Some of them even began to tremble, and their eyes were filled with ecstasy. As for the green dragon left emissary, his face was filled with shock and disbelief. In the distance, Morong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan's eyebrows trembled slightly, and their tightly shut eyes quickly opened. This was because they knew that the situation seemed to have changed. Indeed, in the next moment, they looked into the distance and were all stunned. Even Morong Qingqing stopped crying and smiled, revealing her beautiful face. In front of the spiritual boat in the air, a figure stood. It was a very young man, who looked to be in his 20s. However, at this moment, he was standing in the air, emitting a cold aura, like a god of slaughter. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and his eyes were like lightning. They were like two peerless swords sweeping in all directions. It was him who had sent the right emissary flying with a punch. Who are you? At the side, the green dragon left emissary looked at the young man with a gloomy gaze. I don't care who you are. If you dare to hurt me, I'll kill you. In the distance, the right emissary flew over quickly. His face was extremely ferocious, and he was emitting a terrifying murderous aura. The previous blow had severely injured him, and his entire right arm was completely smashed. At this moment, he held his weak right arm and rushed over quickly. His eyes were like a sword, and he did not hide his murderous aura. Lin Xian. Master. Xiao Xian. Exclamations filled the air, and those voices were filled with shock and joy. That's right, the young man who looked like a god of swords was Lin Xian. When he knew that the Lin family and Morong Qingqing were in danger, he immediately rushed out of the black earth, and finally arrived at the last moment. Grandfather, second uncle, and the rest of the family. Don't worry. With me around, they won't hurt you. Lin Xian waved his hand, and immediately set up another array on the spiritual boat, completely protecting the Lin family. At this moment, the dark red dragon left emissary appeared. It waved its dragon claws and instantly rescued Morong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan. Then, the three figures swayed and came to Lin Xian's side. You're injured. Take these quickly. Lin Xian took out a few elixirs and gave them to Luo Bingshan and Morong Qingqing. Then, he looked at Morong Qingqing again and gently wiped the tears on her face. He said softly, I've made you worry. You really scared me to death. Morong Qingqing grumbled as she smiled through her tears. Lin Xian also felt guilty, so he reached out and gently hugged Morong Qingqing in his arms, comforting her quickly. At the side, Luo Bingshan and the Lin family members behind him were all smiles. However, the left and right emissaries in front of them had dark expressions. This was because they realized that the people in front of them had completely ignored them. That's right, ignored them. The other party didn't care about them at all. The two of them didn't even look at them. This kind of neglect was even worse than contempt. The left and right emissaries, who had always been arrogant, couldn't tolerate it at all. Moreover, they were the clones of the Black Dragon sect's leader. Who in the world dared to ignore them? And now, the young man in front of them really dared to treat them like this. Therefore, they swore that they would definitely kill the other party to relieve the hatred in their hearts. Brat, no matter who you are, you'll die for injuring me. The carefree right emissary's voice was unusually ferocious. Beside him, the green dragon left emissary didn't say anything, but his cold eyes were also fixed on Lin Xian. Chapter 1426. Brat, no matter who you are, since you dared to injure me, you must die. Carefree right emissary's voice was exceptionally malevolent. On the side, green dragon left emissary did not speak, but his cold eyes were also firmly staring at Lin Xian. Lin Xian creased his brows and looked at the two, saying in a deep voice, Left and right emissaries? To be honest, he was somewhat surprised, because the left and right emissaries he knew were not like this. Moreover, the other party's aura was too strange, far beyond that of a half-step king. No wonder Morong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan could not beat him, because no half-step king could beat this kind of aura. They are not the left and right emissaries, but the doppelgangers of the Black Dragon hierarch. Morong Qingqing explained. The real left and right emissaries were already dead. Their bodies have been stolen, and their doppelgangers have been sent down. Therefore, their strength had greatly increased. Lin Xian, you must be careful. King's doppelgangers? No wonder. Lin Xian came to a realization as he stared ahead with a piercingly cold gaze. Regardless of whether you two are doppelgangers or something else, since you've touched my bottom line, you two must die today. What? You want us to die? Ridiculous. The left and right emissaries sneered. Brat, do you know who you're talking to? Idiot. We're not half-step kings, but true kings' doppelgangers. Kneel down obediently and offer me the treasures and beauties, and I can spare your little life. Otherwise, all of you will die. Humph. Just two doppelgangers. What's there to be arrogant about? The dark red dragon snorted disdainfully. Back then, even your true bodies were slapped away, let alone you two. What? You slapped away our true bodies? Hearing these words, the left and right emissaries were shocked. Everyone else was stunned. Morong Qingqing, Luo Bingshan, and the Lin family members were all stunned. These two's true bodies were the Black Dragon Hierarch. They were true kings, and this dark red dragon before them had actually slapped away a king. What was going on? They had no idea that Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon had already met the Black Dragon sect's leader. Therefore, these people were extremely shocked, and the 20 people around them were even more shocked. Who are you? The left green dragon envoy coldly snorted. Although it was only a clone, his soul was connected to the Black Dragon religious leader. Therefore, he could naturally sense a familiar aura from Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon. Little black flood dragon, don't you remember? Back then, I easily sent you flying with a slap. Hearing this, the faces of the left and right messengers darkened. Suddenly, their pupils shrank as if they had thought of something. They pointed at Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon, trembling nonstop. It's you. It's you. It looks like you've remembered. Lin Xian looked ahead with a cold smile. Is it really you guys? Great. Ha 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 ha. I thought that the great dragon sword spirit had gone far away and was not fated with me in this life. I didn't expect you guys to come knocking on my door. Since that's the case, I'll take it. The left and right envoys were too excited because they had already remembered what had happened previously. The young man and the dark red snake in front of them were the people who had fought with their true bodies for the great dragon sword spirit. In other words, these two people had the great dragon sword spirit. If they could capture these two people, they would definitely be able to obtain the great dragon sword spirit. Thinking of this, the left and right envoy's eyes shone with a terrifying light. Not only that, but the Black Dragon sect's leader, who was far away in the horizon, also moved personally and flew over as if he had gone mad. He had already missed the chance to obtain the great dragon sword spirit once, so he would definitely not miss it this time. On the other side, the left and right envoys also unleashed extremely powerful auras as they quickly charged toward Lin Xian. At this moment, their eyes were filled with madness. They had already received orders from the Black Dragon sect's leader. No matter what, they had to take down Lin Xian. Even if they could not do so, they had to drag it out until the Black Dragon sect's leader arrived. Lin Xian, be careful. Seeing the two rushing over, Morong Qingqing anxiously shouted. Lin Xian patted Morong Qingqing's back and comforted her. Don't worry, leave it to me. Then, he took a step forward, and an extremely powerful aura immediately surged out from his body. This year of cultivation had greatly increased his strength. Although he had not reached the true king realm, he had already surpassed the half-step king realm. Even if he was facing two king realm clones now, he was still not afraid. In the next moment, Lin Xian was like a sword god, and his entire body was surrounded by terrifying sword qi. Countless sword qi surged in the surroundings, causing the entire void to distort. Humph! With a cold snort, Lin Xian raised his arm and pointed out. Instantly, a ray of light shot out like an angry dragon. This was an earth-rank martial art, void-shattering finger. At this moment, it was executed by Lin Xian, and it was extremely terrifying. The dazzling ray of light streaked across the sky, bringing with it endless sounds of wind and thunder. It even pierced through the void. Boom! A terrifying collision sound rang out as the void-shattering finger fiercely collided with the right emissary's shoulder, instantly piercing through it. Ah! The right emissary immediately stopped and roared towards the sky with an incomparably ferocious expression. His entire body was trembling. Previously, Lin Xian had shattered his entire right arm, and now, his left shoulder was pierced through. In other words, his entire left arm was crippled. Now that both his arms were crippled, his battle prowess had greatly decreased. Not only that, bright red blood quickly flowed along his arm and dripped into the sky, dyeing the entire sky red. What? How is this possible? Everyone was shocked because they all knew the right emissary's strength. He had already surpassed the half-step king realm. However, such a terrifying existence was actually heavily injured by Lin Xian with a single finger. This was simply unbelievable. Especially the left emissary, whose eyelids were twitching. Damn it! What level has this kid reached? His strength is actually so powerful? To be honest, he was simply too shocked. It should be known that even a half-step king would be powerless before them. But now the opponent's single finger had caused such a terrifying aura. This meant that the opponent's strength was definitely above the half-step king realm. Kid, I'm going to kill you. The right emissary roared with an incomparably ferocious expression. He no longer cared about his shoulder that had been pierced through. Instead, he turned into a black beam of light and charged at Lin Xian. Not only that, his body was also burning with a terrifying black flame, causing the entire void to distort and melt. Although he had lost both his arms, the right emissary had become even more terrifying. In an instant he arrived in front of Lin Xian. His right leg was like a dragon as it quickly kicked out. Immediately, the void in front of him was completely shattered. The power of this kick was too violent, like an ancient demonic mountain, directly sweeping towards Lin Xian. Chapter 1427. Lin Xian coldly snorted as a cold light flashed in his eyes. Since the other party dared to make a move on his family, then he would have to face his boundless rage. Lin Xian quickly formed a seal, and a sky rock shadow appeared in his palm. Then Lin Xian fiercely pressed forward. Sky Rock Dragon. Lin Xian used the Sky Rock Dragon technique, and directly transformed into an ancient demonic beast that quickly charged forward. Boom! In the next moment, the two collided and burst out with a powerful energy wave. It was like a raging sea that constantly slammed in all directions. In an instant, Lin Xian's body was covered by the starry sky battle armor. As for the rest, he raised his hand over to the dark red divine dragon. Ruffian dragon, he was now a true king. The next moment, so this bit of power was red divine dragon roared. Therefore, with a wave of his shadow rushed out, everyone was protected, breaking through the black flame cage that was set up around them. Suddenly came from the void. Not only that, the dragon waved the sound of bones shattering, and hundreds of rays of light flew out. The outcome of the battle had been decided after one dragon sect martial artist. The carefree right emissary was extremely ferocious. The entire sky was filled with a bright red mist of blood, and his dark red dragon led the way in front. Ah, kid, you dare to hurt me? and
I'll
the
kill
others
you.
into the demonic
I'll
abyss.
definitely kill you.
On the other side,
the black flames
the
on
black
his body
dragon
burned
sex
even brighter.
master was like
In
a
the
bolt
end,
of black
his
lightning,
entire body turned
rapidly
into a
flying
monstrous
through the
black
sky.
flame.
He was
and
extremely
charged toward Lin
anxious
Xian
because the great
Die.
dragon sword
A ferocious
soul with such a
voice
good
came from the black
opportunity
flame
that he absolutely
Lin Xian
could not
coldly
miss it.
snorted and clenched
Moreover,
his fist.
according to the
Suddenly,
information
a
from
sharp
his
sword light
doppelganger,
flashed forward.
he had already
Puff.
set up the
The sword
omnidirectional
slashed out
sealing
with
array,
incomparable sharpness,
completely sealing
in
Lin
the next
Xian
moment,
and the others.
the black flame was
This made
instantly
him
cut in
inwardly
half.
heave a sigh of
Even
relief.
the aura of the
One
great
had to
dragon
know that
sword
the array
spirit
was formed
that
by
was
his
contained
black dragon
within it
flames,
directly
and
extinguished
no one
the
below
remaining
the realm
black
of flame
king
could break it.
This scene shocked
no matter
everyone.
how strong the
They
other
did not
party
expect
was,
Lin Xian
as long as they
to
were
kill
not
the
a carefree
true
right
king.
emissary,
They would not
in
be
just
able
a
to
split
break out.
second.
This
This
gave him
method
time
was
and
too
opportunity.
terrifying.
Just
One
wait.
had to know that
The
the
great
carefree
dragon
right
sword
emissary
soul will
was an
definitely be
existence
mine.
that surpassed
When I
the
obtained
half-step
the great
king
dragon
realm.
sword soul.
Moreover, he was a
Not to
king's
mention the
clone.
Tianan
He was
region.
extremely terrifying.
Even the Tianwu continent
However,
will not be
he
my
was killed
match.
by this young
The
man
entire
in front of
world
them
will
with
be
a
mine.
single slash.
Ha 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 ha
This
ha.
ending was
The
something
black
that they
dragon
had never
sect
dreamed of
masters
in their
black
entire
robes
lives.
fluttered.
On
And
the
he
other
let out a
side,
sinister
the
laugh
green
before
dragon
quickly
left
disappearing
disappearing
into the
eyelids
sky.
twitched wildly.
On the other side,
he did not expect
the dark
this
red
young man
dragon
to be
let
so
the spirit
powerful
boat into the
His strength had
incomparably
already
mysterious
surpassed them.
demonic abyss.
This made him feel
This
a
is
sense
the demonic
of despair.
abyss.
However,
The
the
incomparably
black
mysterious
dragon's
demonic
sect
abyss
master
had
had
ordered
Master
them to
Lin's
stall the
second
person
uncle Lin before
and
them
the
no
others
matter
were
what.
shot.
In
They
the
did
next
not dare
moment,
to believe
he
that
gritted
they had
his teeth
actually
and
entered the
transformed
demonic
into a black
abyss.
flood dragon.
During this period
covering
of
the
time,
entire sky,
they naturally knew
Brat,
that the
so what if
reason
you're
why the
strong
Xia country
against
had
a true
undergone
king,
such
you'll
earth-shattering
definitely
changes
die.
was
Just you
because
wait.
of this demonic
My main
abyss.
body will be here
It was
soon.
said that this
Then,
demonic
it will
abyss
be the
was
time of your
incomparably
death.
mysterious.
The black
And
flood
only the
dragon
black
roared in
dragon
all
sect
directions.
master could
Then,
enter.
the
Once
huge
others
black
entered,
dragon in the sky
they would not
suddenly
be able to
exploded,
leave alive,
turning into
Who would have
countless
thought
black
that they would
flames
actually be
that
able to
instantly
enter
enveloped
safely?
Lin Xian
On the
and
side,
the others.
Morong
There were
Qingqing
black
and Luo
flames
Bingshan
everywhere
were
in
even
the
more
sky
shocked.
and on the ground.
As ninth heaven
It could be said that
venerables,
the entire
their
space
strength
had
was
been
not
sealed.
inferior to
Even
that
a
of a
half-step king would not be
so
able
they
to
naturally
escape.
knew what the
Only
previous
a true
battle
king
meant.
would be able to
It
break
meant that
through
Lin
the void.
Xian
This
and the
method
dark
was
red
too
dragon's
terrifying.
strength
If
had
an ordinary
definitely
person was
surpassed that of a
trapped here,
half-step king.
they probably
This
wouldn't
was
be able to
especially
get
true
out.
for the black
However,
dragon
this
sect's
time the
divine
black
dragon,
dragon hierarch was
which even
wrong.
carried an
He had
aura that
absolutely
caused their hearts to
underestimated Lin
tremble.
Xian.
Morong
Lin
Qingqing's
Xian's
was
current
even more
strength
shocked
had already
because
surpassed
this
that
aura
of a
could only be
half-step
felt
king.
from the ancestor
Moreover,
of the Morong
he had
clan.
many methods at his disposal. Breaking this seal could be
This
said
was the
to be a
aura of
piece
a
of
king.
cake. Ruffian
Moreover,
dragon,
they
you
had
entered
the
the
dark
king
red
realm
dragon
and
become a
behind
king,
them, which had
Morong
already
Qingqing's
reached the
eyes
realm of a
widened.
true king.
She did not dare to
Therefore,
believe it.
Lin Xian
Of
did not
course.
care about this
What do you
seal in
think,
the
little girl?
slightest. Are you scared?
Let's go back to the spirit
The dark
boat.
red dragon
Lin
laughed
Xian brought
wildly
Morong
and was
Qingqing
extremely
and the
pleased
others
with
back to
himself.
the spirit boat.
It could be said that recovering to the king realm was the most satisfying thing for him during this period of time. Morong Qingqing was speechless, while Lin Xian's face darkened as he pulled the dark red dragon to the side. Ignore this fellow. This fellow just entered the king realm and wants nothing more than for the whole world to know. Of course, after recovering to the king realm, my strength has increased greatly. In the future, I'll beat up whoever I don't like. Kid, if you dare to be rude to me again, do you believe that I won't beat you up as well? You can try. If you really do it, then don't even think about the subdivine crystal in the future. Lin Xian shrugged and didn't care at all. Fuck. Kid, you win. I'll endure it. The dark red dragon instantly lost his temper. He still had to rely on the subdivine crystal to recover, so he naturally couldn't beat up Lin Xian. On the other hand, Morong Qingqing was speechless. Why did it sound like entering the king realm was an extremely easy thing to do? Chapter 1428. The sky was dark blood red and had a strong pungent smell. This was the battlefield from before. At this moment, there were still remnants of violent energy and inextinguishable sword intent in the air. The entire scene was like an azure hell. Whoosh. However, at this moment, a black light flew over at an extremely fast speed from afar. Behind him was a large amount of air waves and boundless black flames. Whoosh. In the next instant, the black light figure arrived near the sky. This figure was tall, at least 3 meters tall. He wore a black robe with a fierce black dragon drawn on it. This was the black dragon hierarch. His expression was cold, and his cold eyes quickly scanned the surroundings. When he saw the scene in front of him, his face immediately turned gloomy, and the black flames on his body burned rapidly. Where are they? The black dragon hierarch did not care about the dead black dragon hierarch. Instead, he quickly looked for Lin Xian and the dark red dragon. However, after looking around, he did not find them. Impossible. Didn't they say that those people were trapped by the 10-directional absolute ceiling formation? How could they be gone? The black dragon hierarch frowned, but in the next moment, he noticed something strange in front of him. This is 10-directional absolute ceiling formation. It was actually broken. How is this possible? His eyes were like lightning as he carefully looked ahead. There were traces of the formation being broken, but the entire formation had long disappeared. The black dragon hierarch naturally knew what this meant. It meant that the other party had broken the formation. But this shouldn't be. This formation was formed by his black dragon flames, and those below the king level could not break it. How did the other party do it? Could it be because of the great dragon sword soul? Thinking of this, the black dragon hierarch's expression changed. He was very angry that the other party had escaped, but there was also a trace of joy in his heart. This time, he had finally seen the power of the great dragon sword soul. Even such a powerful formation could be broken by the great dragon sword soul. If he obtained it, his strength would definitely undergo an earth-shattering change. As expected of an offensive Saint Art, its combat power was indeed shocking. Kid, you're just a small mortal. You don't deserve the great dragon sword soul. Only I can unleash the true strength of the great dragon sword soul. The black dragon hierarch snorted, then turned around and left quickly. Looking at the direction he was heading, he should be heading to the demon abyss. This was because he knew that the last time he saw Lin Xian and the dark red dragon was in the demon abyss. This person had entered the demon abyss, and yet was able to come out alive. This meant that this person must have grasped some secret that he didn't know about. That was why he was sure that the other party had gone to the devil abyss this time. That was because the devil abyss contained subdivine crystals that could even tempt kings. That's good too. When I kill you all, not only will I obtain the great dragon sword soul, but I will also obtain the subdivinity crystal. This is killing two birds with one stone. Brat, wash your neck and wait for me. The black dragon religious leader laughed nastily and instantly disappeared. On the other side, Lin Xian, Morong Qingsheng, and the other members of the Lin family entered the Black Earth. When they saw the corpses of the invincible kings and the substandard divine crystals on the ground, they all opened their mouths wide and froze on the spot. Heavens, who are these people? Their auras are too terrifying. Old Master Lin's beard curled up. Yeah. Second Uncle Lin also sighed emotionally. The auras of these people far surpassed that of the Black Dragon cult master. It could be said that these were the true peerless experts. However, such a powerful person had actually been killed. This was simply too mystical and strange. Especially Morong Qingsheng, who was even more shocked. One had to know that she had seen many kings, but none of them could compare to the corpses of the kings here. Not to mention the Black Dragon cult master. Even all the kings of the Sky Martial continent combined could not compare to that aura. Just who are these people? Are they still kings? Morong Qingsheng's heart trembled. They are invincible kings. Lin Xian gave a simple introduction. Then, everyone learned about invincible kings, the 9 realms, and the true spirit world. After that, they were extremely shocked. To be honest, they had never heard of this information before. Old Master Lin and the others had always thought that the Sky South region was the entire world. However, they did not expect that the Sky Martial continent would appear. And now the true spirit world would appear. That was the real big world. And the Tiannan region and the Tianwu continent that they were in were just 2 islands. It had to be said that the impact was too strong. Morong Qingsheng's beautiful eyes blinked. She knew more than Old Master Lin and the others. She knew that there was an even wider world outside the Sky Martial continent. However, she did not expect that world to be so mysterious and their continent to be so small. Furthermore, the legend of the Great Emperor had shocked her even more. Moreover, when she saw the subdivine crystal on the ground, she was even more shocked. Originally, she thought that after obtaining a subdivine crystal, she would be able to use it when she entered the King realm. However, she did not expect that there would be a ground here. Everyone felt that their heads were about to explode. Although the subdivine crystal is mysterious, it is best not to use it casually if it is not a king crystal, Lin Xian said solemnly. However, he was different from the dark red divine dragon. The dark red divine dragon was originally a king. This time, it was only recovering its strength. As for Lin Xian, he had absorbed the power of the subdivine crystal and gave it to the great dragon sword spirit. His body did not absorb it. Therefore, it did not affect him from becoming a king. However, others could not use it casually. Fortunately, there were not only subdivine crystals here, there were also other natural treasures. Although there were not many, they were all top-notch. After making arrangements for old Master Lin and the others, Lin Xian began to think about his next step. The first was martial Dao. Since he already knew the 9 realms, he would continue to walk on the path of martial Dao. His goal was to become a great emperor. The second was to settle the matter of the Tiannan region. As long as he got rid of the Black Dragon sect leader and uprooted the Black Dragon sect, the Tiannan region would regain its peace. However, Lin Xian had already decided that even if he got rid of the Black Dragon sect, he would not immediately bring the Lin family members to the Sky Martial continent, because there was still a powerful enemy in the Sky Martial continent, the Duan family. Therefore, he would wait until he got rid of the Duan family before bringing old Master Lin and the others to the Sky Martial continent. At that time, his father would probably come out of seclusion. At that time, his family would be reunited. After that, he would leave the Sky Martial continent and go to the real great world. However, he still lacked the energy to activate the Black Earth. This was also one of the things that gave him a headache. Forget it, the most important thing now is to increase my strength and get rid of the Black Dragon sect leader first. Lin Xian slowly closed his eyes and started to absorb the subdivine crystal again. In his body, the great dragon sword spirit quickly swam around, crazily absorbing the power of the subdivine crystal in order to awaken. This absorption took another half a year. During this period, the subdivine crystal on the ground decreased rapidly. The dark red divine dragon had a pained expression. Damn brat, it's almost all used up. The situation is indeed unexpected. I did not expect the great dragon sword spirit to have so much energy after entering the king realm. Chapter 1429. Lin Xian slowly closed his eyes and began to absorb the subdivinity crystals again. The great dragon sword soul quickly swam within his body and madly absorbed the energy of the subdivinity crystals to awaken. This absorption took another half a year. During this time, the subdivinity crystals on the ground rapidly decreased. The dark red dragon had a pained expression. Damn, that damned brat, it's almost all used up. The situation is indeed unexpected. I didn't expect the great dragon sword soul to have so much energy after entering the king realm. He too floated in the air and spoke in a deep voice. To be honest, this scene was also beyond He Tu's expectations. Originally, the Black Earth had enough subdivinity crystals, but after Lin Xian and the dark red dragon's absorption, there wasn't much left. And now Lin Xian had absorbed a large portion of it, so there wasn't much left. Even so, Lin Xian still didn't wake up. Moreover, there wasn't any king realm aura coming from his body. Forget it, we can't help at all. We can only wait patiently, He Tu said slowly. Then, everyone waited patiently for the result. After another 10 days, a deep dragon roar finally came from Lin Xian's body. This dragon roar was very majestic, causing everyone to tremble in fear. Even the dark red dragon was startled, and the blood in its body quickly boiled. This was too inconceivable. After all, the dark red dragon was a dragon, and a member of the divine dragon clan. The bloodline in its body was extremely high, and there were very few who could rival it. But now, this dragon's roar made it tremble with fear. He Tu shouted excitedly. The great dragon sword soul has awakened. It's finally awakened. Only by entering the king realm would the great dragon sword soul be truly awakened. It was too excited because it had once followed a successor of the great dragon sword, so it naturally knew the true power of the great dragon sword soul. At this moment, The great dragon sword soul within Lin Xian's body had finally entered the king realm. This caused boundless hope to rise in He Tu's heart. Fortunately, it had broken through. Otherwise, the remaining subdivinity crystals wouldn't be able to support it for long. In the next moment, Lin Xian opened his eyes, and there was boundless sword light flickering in his eyes. Wang! A green dragon-shaped sword shadow appeared in front of him. Back off! Everyone follow me! Seeing this, He Tu shouted loudly. Fortunately, the members of the Lin family were all cultivating elsewhere. Only Morong Qingcheng, Luo Bingshan, the dark red dragon, and the snow-white monkey were in the hall. These people were all experts. When they heard He Tu's call, they immediately retreated. Then, He Tu controlled the remaining half of the sword and waved it in the air, forming a light formation that completely enveloped them. In front of him, Lin Xian's dragon sword shadow started to tremble rapidly. Then countless green lights surged in and formed a green dragon sword domain. This domain wasn't too big. It only had a radius of 10 feet. However, the aura it emitted was enough to make one's heart tremble. Even the dark red divine dragon let out a strange cry. Fuck, it can't be. How can it be so powerful? He Tu shouted excitedly. That's right, great dragon sword soul. The dragon sword domain has finally been formed. The great dragon sword soul was one of the 5 swords in the world. It was an offensive saint art that could simplify and simulate everything. Its combat power could be said to be incomparably powerful. The first-generation successor of the dragon sword became the great Emperor Shiman. He swept through the 8 barren lands and ruled over 10,000 races. He could be said to be a figure that could crush all ancient times. After him, the second and third generation successors of the dragon sword didn't become great emperors. However, they were also sword saints whose names shook the world. According to the ancient records, the successor of the dragon sword, who had reached the great success stage, wasn't a great emperor. However, his combat power was incomparably powerful and could even be compared to a great emperor. This was too terrifying. One had to know that He Tu was an ancient hero. No one in the world could defeat him. He was a true overlord. However, the successor of the dragon sword who had reached the great success stage was actually comparable to a great emperor in terms of combat power. This was shocking news. This kind of combat power was heaven-defying. No wonder the great dragon sword was called an offensive saint art. And now, Lin Xian was this generation's successor of the dragon sword. Moreover, he had already awakened the great dragon sword to the king realm. In front of him, Lin Xian also slowly stood up. He looked at the dragon sword domain around him and smiled. This is the king domain. How magical. How powerful. With a thought, the domain around him quickly revolved. Countless green sword shadows flew out and instantly turned into a green dragon that circled around him. With a light wave of his hand, the azure dragon trembled and turned into a huge phoenix, born from the flames. The phoenix flew high and then turned into a white tiger. It pounced and swooped down. Finally, it turned into a black tortoise that suppressed the surroundings. These weren't real ancient divine beasts. They were all evolved from the great dragon sword soul, which was the current dragon sword domain. Every one of them had to be lifelike, as if they were real. Their power was even more powerful. This kind of method was heaven-defying. Not only that, Lin Xian used the dragon sword domain to evolve all kinds of things. The attack power of each of them was extremely powerful. It could be said that Lin Xian was now like a god of war. His sharpness was unstoppable. With a thought, Lin Xian recalled the dragon sword domain. Then, the great dragon sword soul also turned into a ray of light and entered his body. Middle stage venerable realm. Lin Xian took a look and found that his cultivation had also risen by a small realm. He had reached the mid-stage venerable realm. He was very satisfied with this result. At least now, he could fight against a 1-star king. As for a 2-star king, he didn't know, because he knew very well that after reaching the king realm, the gap between each realm was even greater. Compared to the venerable realm, the gap was more than 10 times or 100 times greater. It was impossible for an ordinary king realm cultivator to challenge someone of a higher realm. However, Lin Xian wasn't necessarily so. The great dragon sword soul's attack power was too powerful.
It made everyone tremble. Seeing Lin Xian withdraw the dragon sword domain, the dark red dragon, Morong Qingcheng, and the others quickly rushed over. Kid, you finally succeeded, the dark red dragon shouted excitedly. Morong Qingcheng asked, Lin Xian, are you a king realm cultivator now? I can't be considered a king realm cultivator. I just have a king realm domain. Lin Xian explained. My current cultivation is still at the mid-stage venerable realm. However, my battle prowess has reached the one-star king realm. Hearing this, the corners of Morong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan's mouths twitched. Such a powerful venerable realm cultivator. Lin Xian was probably the first one in history. He too checked, and found that there were only 108 subdivine crystals left. Lin Xian didn't use these subdivine crystals. Instead, he carefully sealed them, and left them for Morong Qingcheng and the Lin family to use in the future. Now it's time to deal with the Black Dragon sect. Lin Xian's eyes flickered with coldness. Are we going to beat up that Black Dragon? Count me in. The dark red dragon was very excited. Chapter 1430. Alright, let's go together. Lin Xian nodded, then left the black earth with the dark red dragon. This time, it was only the two of them, and they didn't bring anyone else. After all, the black dragon sect's leader was a king, and this was a battle between kings. It would be very dangerous for anyone below the king level to go. Morong Qingcheng naturally knew this, so she nodded obediently and stayed on the black earth to cultivate. Her main goal now was to enter the king level as soon as possible, so that she could catch up to Lin Xian. To be honest, Morong Qingcheng's talent was extraordinary, especially her bloodline power. Even He Tu was shocked for a long time when he saw it. In fact, when He Tu saw Morong Qingcheng for the first time, he even screamed. There probably weren't many people with such pure phoenix bloodline in the entire true spirit world. He Tu had been following the fourth-generation successor of the dragon sword, so his experience was very unique. Although he didn't have the phoenix bloodline cultivation method, with his experience, he could give Morong Qingcheng some very good suggestions. Therefore, in the past half year, Morong Qingcheng's cultivation and strength had increased rapidly. It could be said that she was making rapid progress. In addition, Luo Bingshan and the people of the Lin clan had also improved greatly. Compared to half a year ago, they couldn't be mentioned in the same breath.
Above the devil abyss, a black figure sat cross-legged. He emitted a powerful aura. He was the Black Dragon Sect's leader. This time, the Black Dragon Sect's leader was exceptionally patient. Even after waiting for half a year, he still didn't leave, because the Great Sword Soul was too tempting. It was the most powerful offensive saint art in the world, and no one wouldn't be tempted. Inside the Devil Abyss, Lin Xian and the Dark Red Dragon had also left the Black Earth, and were flying towards the outside world. That guy was outside. As soon as they left the Black Earth, the Dark Red Dragon sensed a powerful aura above. This aura was extremely powerful, and even Lin Xian should have sensed it. He knew that in the entire Southern Heaven region, only the Black Dragon Sect's leader could emit such an aura. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lin Xian and the Dark Red Divine Dragon transformed into two streaks of light and flew towards the sky. Soon they arrived at the top of the sky. The Black Dragon religious leader suddenly opened his eyes, and two terrifying rays of light appeared in his eyes. "You're finally out." He was really too excited, because he didn't expect that the other party would actually take the initiative to show up. To him, this was undoubtedly great news. If he could capture the other party, then the Great Dragon Sword Spirit would be his. Obediently hand over the Great Dragon Sword Soul, and I can spare your life. The Black Dragon Sect leader's voice was cold. You want the Great Dragon Sword Soul? What wishful thinking. Today, I'm here to deal with you. Lin Xian snorted coldly. His gaze was as sharp as a divine sword. Deal with me? Ha 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 ha. The Black Dragon Sect's leader seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world. He laughed coldly in disdain. Brat, you're just a puny venerable one. To think that you dare to boast so shamelessly. Do you know what level I am at? I'm a king. The incomparably powerful king of the heavens and the earth. How dare you say you want to kill me? What a joke. Ignorant. The Black Dragon Sect's leader sneered in disdain. What's there to be arrogant about? Aren't you just a one-star king? If I could send you flying back then, I can still beat you up now. The Dark Red Dragon snorted coldly. You're just a flood dragon. How dare you call yourself a dragon? You're courting death. What did you say? Hearing this, the Black Dragon Sect's leader's face darkened. His black robe and long hair fluttered in the wind. Countless black flames jumped on his body, distorting the surrounding void. It's you. You're that dragon. When the Black Dragon Sect's leader saw the Dark Red Dragon, his pupils constricted, and his expression became extremely ugly. Previously, he was sent flying by the Dark Red Dragon's slap. Now that he thought about it, the anger in his heart burned even more. However, when he sensed the other party's cultivation, he immediately laughed maniacally. One-star king. You're also just a one-star prince. Ha 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 ha, the heavens are really helping me. If I catch you and eat your dragon essence and dragon blood, then I'll evolve into a real dragon. Even the heavens are helping me. Not only did they send me the Great Dragon Sword Soul, but they also sent me a divine dragon. From now on, I am a true member of the Divine Dragon clan. The Black Dragon Sect's leader was too excited. He looked at Lin Xian and the Dark Red Dragon, as though he was looking at the most precious treasure. His eyes emitted a terrifying light. You're courting death. Let me deal with it. The Dark Red Dragon snorted coldly and instantly charged out. Like a blood-colored longsword, it quickly streaked across the void and attacked the Black Dragon Sect's leader. Go to hell. The Black Dragon Sect's leader roared into the sky. Instantly, countless black dragon flames surged rapidly on his body, forming two huge palms that slapped forward. Not only that, but within 100 feet of him, countless seas of fire formed, emitting a terrifying aura. King's Domain. This was the Black Dragon Sect's leader's domain, the Black Flame Domain. The Black Flame Domain emitted a blazing black light, dyeing the entire void into boundless darkness. If other martial artists were here, they would definitely be so frightened that they would kneel on the ground and tremble nonstop. The aura emitted by the Black Flame Domain was too terrifying. No one below the King Realm could withstand it. Two huge black flame palms glided in the air. Countless black lightning bolts surged rapidly in the palms like huge black dragons. These black lightning bolts, and the two huge black palms, rapidly blasted towards the Dark Red Dragon, as though they were going to smash it into pieces. The dark red dragon snorted coldly and let out a shocking dragon roar. Instantly, a red light soared around him. These rays of light enveloped his body, making him look like a bolt of red lightning. He was extremely sharp. Boom! 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 Dozens of black lightning bolts descended and blasted the red light, emitting deafening thunder sounds. However, none of the black lightning bolts could break through the red light. In other words, these black lightning bolts did not harm the dark red dragon at all. In an instant, the dark red dragon arrived beside the black dragon sex leader. Boom! A red dragon claw stretched out. It was extremely sharp and instantly shattered the two huge black palms. Moreover, it charged towards the black dragon sex leader in an even more violent manner. "You're courting death." The black dragon sex leader was enraged. He had never been threatened like this before. His body glowed with a sharp black light. Countless black flames danced. Combined with the black flame domain, an extremely terrifying power erupted. Black dragon soaring sky. With a cold shout, the countless black flames in the black flame domain immediately condensed into a huge black wave, quickly surging towards the dark red divine dragon. Chapter 1431. Boom! In the next moment, the two of them collided with a terrifying sound. A flood dragon and a dragon started fighting. Damn it! Impossible! How can you be so strong? Not long after, the black dragon patriarch roared furiously, because he realized that his black flame domain was being suppressed. His opponent was like a red sword that was constantly attacking him, making it impossible for him to use his full strength. Moreover, what made him even more furious was that his opponent was just a one-star king like him. However, the strength it displayed was much stronger than his. It could be said that he was being completely beaten up. You're just a flood dragon that has just entered the king realm. How can you use your full strength? You're the ant before me. Watch how I beat you up. The dark red dragon snorted in disdain, and then quickly waved its claws. One fierce attack after another slammed into the black flame domain, causing it to be pushed back and shake violently. Damn it! Die for me! The black dragon patriarch roared furiously and used all his strength to counterattack, but he was still being suppressed. This caused him to hold back a ball of anger in his heart. It seemed that his opponent was indeed stronger than him. It would probably be very difficult for him to achieve his wish of absorbing dragon essence and dragon blood. However, in the next moment, he looked behind him and saw Lin Xian standing there. The black dragon patriarch laughed wildly in his heart. Yes, this dark red dragon was powerful. But that kid was only a human, and he was only at the Exalt realm. That kind of cultivation was like an ant before him. Up until now, the dark red dragon had not used the power of the great dragon sword soul. This meant that it was very likely that the great dragon sword soul was with that kid. Thinking of this, the black dragon patriarch's heart thumped wildly. The black dragon patriarch resisted the dark red dragon's attacks, while looking at Lin Xian in the distance with a savage smile. Soon he had a plan in his heart. He would give up on the dragon essence and dragon blood in the dark red dragon, and only take the great dragon sword soul. Black flame domain, netherworld transformation. The black dragon patriarch roared furiously, and the surrounding black flame domain started to churn. Countless terrifying auras dyed the entire sky black. Countless black dragon shadows rushed out, and instantly enveloped the dark red divine dragon. Within the black flame domain, the black dragon religious leader sneered. After which, his figure flashed as he quickly retreated and charged towards Lin Xian. His plan was very simple. He only needed to use the black flame domain to trap the dark red divine dragon for a period of time, while he himself charged towards Lin Xian. One move. He only needed one move to capture Lin Xian. At that time, he would immediately retreat and fly far away. He would only come out after he had grasped the great dragon sword soul. At that time, no one in the world would be his match. This idea was indeed very simple, and that was what he did. Therefore, when the black flame domain erupted and enveloped the dark red divine dragon, the black dragon religious leader took the initiative. He turned into a bolt of black lightning and instantly charged towards Lin Xian. Die, brat! In the blink of an eye, the black dragon hierarch arrived in front of Lin Xian. His terrifying palm was like a dragon claw that quickly grabbed at Lin Xian's head, wanting to crush it. Humph! Lin Xian coldly snorted, and a shocking light burst out from his eyes. Then, the sword chi on his body surged and condensed into a huge shield of sword light in front of him. Clang! In the next moment, the black dragon religious leader's palm ruthlessly slammed on the shield, producing an earth-shattering sound. At this moment, a green sword shadow appeared in Lin Xian's right hand. It was a dragon-shaped sword shadow. It was very mighty and emitted a terrifying aura. The moment the dragon-shaped sword shadow appeared, the black dragon religious leader's expression changed. This aura? Impossible. His face was filled with shock and disbelief. Because this aura was too terrifying, it made him feel a sense of trepidation. This was the instinct of a martial artist to be able to predict danger. Therefore, the black dragon religious leader did not hesitate and quickly retreated. He did not know what was going on with this brat in front of him. Why was he emitting such a dangerous aura? However, he knew that if he did not dodge, he would definitely be in danger. You want to leave? It's too late. Lin Xian sneered. Do you really think that I'm a pushover? In the next moment, the terrifying dragon-shaped sword shadow quickly slashed out. As a king, the black dragon religious leader's speed was extremely fast. In an instant he had retreated far away. However, the power of this sword strike was too great. The terrifying sword light directly pierced through space and chased after the black dragon religious leader, as if it wanted to cut him in half. Roar! A loud dragon roar resounded in the sky. The terrifying sword chi slashed down, bringing with it endless waves of air. It was as if the entire sky was cut in half. In the next moment, the terrifying sword light enveloped the black dragon religious leader. Ah! The black dragon religious leader let out a shrill scream. Then a large amount of blood splattered in the air. Impossible! This is simply impossible. You're just a puny venerable one. How could you possibly hurt me? The black dragon religious leader's hair was disheveled as he roared madly. His eyes shone with a terrifying light, as if he had gone mad. He's crazy, he's really crazy. Because this had already exceeded his understanding. After all, as a king, his strength was extremely terrifying. Only king realm experts could harm him. Venerable ones below the king realm could not hurt him at all. In fact, they could not even break through his defense. However, a puny venerable one in front of him had actually injured him. This was simply too unbelievable. No, it's impossible for you to be so powerful. The Great Dragon Sword Soul. This is the power of the Great Dragon Sword Soul. The black dragon religious leader understood. His eyes flickered as he stared at the dragon-shaped sword in Lin Xian's hand with a sinister smile on his face. Good, good, good. As expected of the Great Dragon Sword Soul. It can actually allow a venerable one kid to possess such powerful strength. If I get it, I'll definitely be able to dominate the world. The black dragon religious leader revealed a sinister smile. He yearned to obtain the Great Dragon Sword Soul because its power was too powerful. However, right at this moment, the dark red dragon snorted coldly. He waved his dragon claw and broke through the black flame domain. Little flood dragon, you want the great dragon sword soul? Go play somewhere else. Kid, this flood dragon is too boring. I'll give it to you. The dark red dragon retreated to the side and prepared to watch the show. He knew Lin Xian's strength, so he wasn't worried. Don't be so arrogant. You just have the great dragon sword soul. With your cultivation, you can't unleash the true strength of the great dragon sword soul at all. Next, I'll let you know the true strength of a king realm expert. The black dragon religious leader snorted coldly. Since the dark red dragon wasn't going to make a move, things would be easier. He just had to use the black flame domain to kill the young man in front of him and seize the great dragon sword soul. In the next moment he waved his hand, and the black flame domain returned to his side. It flickered with a pitch-black light. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.